Stand up! New York Giants fans. Mike.
What an intro.
The 3-1 New York Giants, Mike.
Hell yeah. Hey, did we ever see it coming? I mean, did you expect this a month ago?
No. Well, to be honest with you, Mike, I did say going into the year I thought 2-2 over the first four.
Yeah.
But if you would have told me, Mike, that Leonard Williams was going to miss 2 games, that Kayvon Thibodeau was going to miss 2 games, that Azeez Ojulari was going to miss 2 games, that Aaron Robinson was going to get an appendectomy, that you go down the list.
Tony, Wandale.
That Wandale was going to miss time, that Kadarius Toney was going to remain on the Toney report. I don't call it the injury report anymore. That Kenny Golladay was going to be beat out by David Sills. Just flat out beat. Kenny Galladay's not hurt. I would have said you're absolutely insane if you think this is going to start any better than 0-4.
Yeah. And the funny part is, like, I'm not to bring up his name, but if we still had Joe Judge as coach, I feel like this team is 1-3 at best, you know? Like, the job the coaching has done has been such a pleasant surprise. We have not seen it in so long. And I know we played the Bears last week. They weren't the most fierce opponent, but you can tell even their game plan for just this past week was awesome to make Justin Fields confused with the blitzes. They knew the Bears' run defense was atrocious. Let's run the ball with Saquon 31 times. It looks like they've never seen a bootleg in their life. Let's run those with Daniel Jones, hit the open tight ends, have Jones running in for touchdowns. It was such like it was a pretty basic game plan, but like the Giants executed it so perfectly. And to beat an opponent like that, sometimes all you need is simplicity. I'm sure going forward versus the Packers, the Ravens, they have to do a bit more, especially passing the ball. But for that game specifically, they handled it very well.
Yeah, no, they did a great job, and the coaching staff continues to do a great job. And we're going to talk about it throughout the stream. We'll also recap the Cowboys game and some of the things that I guess they need to improve on and just talk about the season ahead. Obviously, we got a lot of injuries that the New York Giants are going to need to continue to overcome that we'll talk about on the show as well. Before we get started, let's say hello to a bunch of people in the chat. Afghanistan moves, amazing guy, Giants for life. Donovan in the chat. I know Papa Goots in the chat. I know I saw Bill in the chat. Thank you to everybody. Andrew's in the chat. Juke's in the chat. A lot of injuries. We're going to talk about it. Kansas in the chat. Mets in the chat. Thank you to everybody for being here. Hopefully you guys, what's up, Sam? What's going on, Luke?
Hope all you guys froze up on me. Hold up.
Oh, no, you're good. Well, you're good at least on my end. But hope all you guys are enjoying your Tuesday as we're getting ready to go. Mike just dropped out, so he did freeze up, but he'll be right back in. There he is. But hopefully all you guys are enjoying your Tuesday. We're going to jump into the New York Giants talk and recap what went on. And, you started it with, and Bill, man, I'll get to you in 1 second, man. Thank you so much. You started with the bootleg rollouts, and that's going to bring me to my first point. This New York Giants offense this year has been bad. Don't get me wrong, but it's been better. It's been better than it's been. When you look at the numbers, we're 19th, I think, in yards and 22nd in points. The last 2 years, we were 31st in each department. And to me, it comes down to Saquon Barkley. I want to, not to say I want to take. I obviously Kafka's a major improvement, and the adjustments they've made as a coaching staff. But you really see the impact that Saquon Barkley's had on this offense, and that more than anything else, I think, at least from watching that game, was why that bootleg worked as well as it did. Was Saquon Barkley. I understand the running back is not thought to be the most important position, but when you have a playmaker as dynamic as Barkley is, and he commands extra attention, 7, 8 guys. And then you have a quarterback like Daniel Jones that has the ability, as we all know, when he's got an open lane, he's not the most elusive guy, but when he's got an open lane, he can run with the best of them. And when you got to spend 7, 8 guys, you got to spend that extra attention on Barkley. That really gets me excited for whenever Jones gets back on the field for what this run game could be like, especially if we had a guy on the outside, a wide receiver.
Yeah, that's the part of it. Like, I wish this team had more wide receiver talent because we can't see the full potential right now. But despite not having a wide receiver worth giving a damn about, to put it nicely, it's probably not even that nice, but still, they are just finding a way with Saquon. I mean, we mentioned it was 31 carries, but the guy still had a very good game. And he didn't break off like a massive 67-yard run. It was just a game that Saquon has had multiple times this year already of just putting his head down, sometimes getting the tough yards, but we saw some 15-yard gains, 20-yard gains, things like that. And you were right. I tweeted the same thing on Sunday after the game, that the Bears looked like they were petrified of Saquon Barkley and did not want to have Saquon beat them. And it just opened up everything else. I said it in my reaction video Sunday night. Daniel Jones was doing his, bootleg rollouts and had the entire half of the field to himself. It was either Daniel Jones, running by himself with the ball, and he had a linebacker in front of him or a tight end running wide open behind him. And it was Daniel Jones would either tuck the ball and run or just lob it to the open tight end. It was like such a flawless game plan. Once again, it wasn't the most complex game plan, but just for the Bears, for some reason, they didn't want to have Saquon beat them, and he still did, but Saquon didn't find the end zone.
That's the craziest part. They committed all that extra attention to him, and he still beat them.
Right.
And obviously give some credit to the offensive line as well. They did a really good job in terms of run blocking. Yep. It was good to see Evan Neal have a nice bounce back performance after he got completely obliterated against the Cowboys. And we'll dive into some of the negatives from that as well. But it was good to see that. And on the defensive end, man, how do you not talk about Big Sexy Dexy and the job that he had? I think he had 8 pressures, 2 sacks, and that's without Leonard Williams in the lineup. Moreau, I thought, did a tremendous job stepping in at the cornerback spot. He had 2 huge pass breakups in that game, and it looks like he's going to get the start because I don't think Robinson's going to be playing anytime soon. So that was good to see for sure. So I thought those 2 really stood out to me, along with Tate Crowder. He takes a lot of heat, not the best in coverage. Don't get it twisted. But in that game, he had a number of tackles right around the line of scrimmage. He played well. He diagnosed the run well. They used him a lot as a blitzer. And, Mike, we had 5 sacks in the first half. Last year, we didn't have 5 sacks in a game.
Against the Bears, too, who don't pass the ball. Keep that in mind.
Wow, I didn't even think about it. How many pass attempts did they have?
I think 22 Fields had.
Wow. I didn't even that's a great point you bring up. We didn't have that many opportunities, and we still got 6 sacks in the game, 5 sacks in the first half.
And don't get me wrong, the Bears' offensive line is, I think, worse than ours on Football Outsiders for like pass blocking wise, whatever the hell it is, pass blocking win rate. But still, it's impressive. It's an NFL offensive line. The Giants had 5 sacks and a half. And Dexter Lawrence, I mean, my goodness, I mean, just he's been great, especially with Leonard Williams being out. It just feels like Dexter has taken his game to a different level this year. We've known for the past couple of years he's a good football player, right? But Dexter this year is like literally changing the game. And you mentioned it in game 2. He was chasing down Baker Mayfield. That's when it first came to our eyes. And now we saw the stat, 8 pressures, 2 sacks against a very athletic and elusive quarterback in Justin Fields. That's what you want to see. And that is why, like most Gettleman moves, I bitched about taking a defensive tackle in the first round. I'm like, look, those guys are good for stopping the run, but in the NFL these days, teams are passing 60% of the time. Why allocate a first-round pick to a defensive tackle? But Dexter Lawrence is saying, no, I can stop the run and pressure the passer. That's why this pick is looking like it's worth it. And soon we're going to be talking about Dexter Lawrence getting a contract extension with the Giants if this keeps up.
Yeah, you saw it as far as Dex goes, and Bill, I'm going to get you right after this. But you saw it as far as Dex goes before the year started, Mike. That they liked him, right? Wink came out and said that he's one of the. I think he said he's one of the most impressive players he's ever coached. Maybe I'm, not exactly what he said, but he hinted at that. And they gave him the 5th-year extension before the year started, so that gave you an idea that this is a guy that they may want to build with long term. So it definitely looks like he's going to be here for a bit. And I think he's only going to get better once Leo gets inserted into the lineup. Not that I expect 8 pressures every game, but just a great performance. After he kind of got locked down a bit against the Cowboys, he really showed up this past week and really did a tremendous job. And we're going to need him. And hopefully Leo's back this week. I don't know much about his injury update because if we have any chance against Rodgers this week, we're going to have to get good interior pressure with those 2.
Yeah, definitely. You did bring up Tate Crowder. You covered pretty much everything else. Fabian Moreau, 2 big pass breakups. I want to say, though, not that the Bears would have scored on that final play where they lateraled the ball for 45 seconds, but Tate Crowder made the biggest play and possibly a game-saving play because there was the time where Fields was near the sideline, threw the ball back to midfield, and the Bears were gaining momentum, getting closer to the end zone. They were still at midfield, but Tate Crowder had great anticipation, saw the offensive lineman was going to pitch it back, and he knocked the ball on the ground, and the Giants dove on it, and that was the game. Not saying they would have lost the game, of course, because that play is 1 in a million, but like that was another play from Tate Crowder where I'm like, wow, the guy had good recognition, but even the sack he had, like Justin Fields had no idea it was coming. So that was like a good defensive scheme there by Martindale, and they confused the hell out of Justin Fields, who had some very impressive plays in this game, but you can tell just from like a mental level, he may not understand the blitzes coming at him, but even like veteran quarterbacks will point out how
look complex. At Mayfield. Mayfield looked like a deer in headlights against this defense.
Even I feel like there was another veteran quarterback who spoke out about Martindale's defense. Now I forget who it is, and I'm mad at myself. But it was a veteran quarterback who even pointed out they hated playing against that guy because of his, complex blitz schemes. And for a young quarterback in his second year, it's even tougher to pick those up.
Yeah, this week we're not facing a young quarterback, but
Yeah.
in future weeks we will. And I'm really intrigued to see what he does against Lamar Jackson, because who knows him better than Wink, right? I mean, he
Mhm.
coached on that staff, so I'm really interested to see what defensive game plan he comes up with when he takes on his former team in a couple of weeks. Bill, man, thank you so much, man, for the incredible generosity. Always in the streams, always showing support. Hope you're doing well, man. He says, since we fresh out of wideouts, I guess we just run Saquon behind two tight end sets. That's been the game plan, Bill, and it's been working. And I think that's the approach they're going to continue to take until such time they get these guys back, and until such time they really feel like they could trust the interior part of this offensive line in terms of pass protection. They're playing behind their strength, and that's what the New York Giants should do. I know I'm with everybody else on this, Mike. I want to see Daniel Jones get unleashed this year and see what we have at the quarterback position. But at the same time, as a head coach, it's your job to put your team in the best position to win football games. And it's not a knock on Jones. It's because we don't have the pieces right now to be able to chuck the ball around 40 times a game. And I think Brian Dable is smart enough to realize that. He would love to drop Jones back there 45 times a game and throw the ball. Right now, Mike, we've got a used car salesman as our wide receiver 1, and we got a plumber as our wide receiver 2. And we can't pass protect. You saw it against the Dallas Cowboys. So he's going back to his roots. That's running the football. That's controlling the clock. We've done a tremendous job at that the last few weeks. And if we continue to do that, Mike, I mean, we run for 262 yards this past week. That's the most we've ever run in a football game since 2008.
Yeah. And that was a good running team too. So that was impressive. Yeah.
So I do think there's going to come a point in time where we do open up this offense. I just don't think it's yet. You got to get Wan'Dale back. Hopefully Tony gets off the Tony report and those guys are good to go, and we'll see where we go from there. But right now, Barkley's your bread and butter. You're rolling with it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to see them open up the offense more, because I, like all of you guys, want to find out who Daniel Jones is. And if they keep him in this like game manager role, it's tough to find out. But at the same time, they are doing what's best to win these games. They have not really played a high-powered offense so far. The best offense we have faced is probably the Titans, who, they scored 3 points the second half against us. And the Giants, they did open it up with the Sterling Shepard touchdown. But for the most part, the Giants have not had to have many big plays. I saw there was a graph today. I forget who tweeted it, but the Giants are 9th in the NFL in 20-plus yard plays on offense. Only 4 of those are via the pass. The 25 other ones are from running plays. So the Giants have been a great running team in terms of explosive plays. Passing-wise, not yet.
Mike, as you're talking, Mike, I had this thought last night. I want to see if you agree with me.
Okay.
What does this New York Giants offense this year remind you of in terms of last year around the NFL? What team does it remind you? Or where do you see it heading? What team?
I know you hate them. Am I on the right track here?
Philadelphia Eagles.
Exactly. Yeah.
This offense right now, the way that I'm seeing it being morphed and where it may be going,
yeah,
I could see it being the 2021 Eagles offense.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you go out and you get that premium number 1, maybe you start to really have something here with this New York Giants. I'm not saying we're going to be an elite offense, but you see the potential. Especially if you could keep Barkley on this football team.
Well, lucky for the Eagles, unlike us, their 2021 first-round wide receiver plays in games. That's one important part.
We need that next year. We need that.
Yeah, I mean, Philly is more skilled, of course, like skill position wise. I think the Giants have the better running back, no doubt about it. But not to say Sanders is bad; he's having a good year. But you compare Dallas Goedert to our tight ends and AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, and that if the Giants can ever get those guys, which that's a lot to ask for in one offseason, but if they can get somewhere near that, yeah, the offense can be much better next year. So I'm excited because we know that even schematic wise, this is going to work. I really do think the Giants offense will work really well once they get the pieces they need. It might not be until next year where we fully see everything come together, because there's only so much they can do. The receivers they're paying the most money to right now, one is Galladay, who has this knee injury now. He just looks completely washed, unfortunately. And as you mentioned, the Tony report, we'll find out when he plays. Wan'Dale Robinson, we'll see when he plays. I love that line, by the way. That's great. But did you come up with that, or someone in
Oh, yeah, I just came up with it.
That was good. I like that.
But yeah, I see Authentic said we don't have the line. We don't. But what I will say is, I don't think our line's that far away. I'm not talking about this year. I'm talking about projecting towards next year, because I think Evan Neal's going to be good, really good. I'm not worried about Evan Neal. I think he's going to continue to progress, and I think he's going to be really good. I'm not saying Andrew Thomas good, and I do think Shane's going to continue to hammer home the offensive line. So I think this line is definitely trending up. And we're already a pretty good run blocking offensive line, if you're being honest with yourself. Just can't pass protect right now. But in terms of run blocking, the line's actually been pretty good.
Yeah.
The other crazy stat I saw today regarding Saquon Barkley, Mike, Saquon Barkley's yak yards after contact, not whatever. I know yak's usually yards after catch.
Yeah.
If you just take the yards after contact yards, he's 4th in the NFL in rushing.
Jeez, that is surprising.
Yards after he gets hit.
Wow. Yeah, it makes sense. Holy crap.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
But let's get to a couple of these. Steven, man, thank you very much, man. For me, the biggest thing the coaches have changed is DJ so much improvement in fumbles and pocket awareness. Just want to see him be able to throw now. Yeah. Listen, you really saw it in the Cowboys game, Mike. And in the Cowboys game, I want to get your thoughts on Daniel Jones' performance in that game. People are just going to look at the numbers. And they're going to say, under 200 yards. Now, let's be honest. Tom Brady and Joe Burrow combined for 380 yards against that defense. Like that passing, or maybe it was 360. It was a low number. That Cowboys defense is really good. And I don't think they've surrendered 20 points all year. Giants should have had 19. Graham Gano missed a field goal where it was blocked. Daniel Jones in that game had nothing to work with. He was pressured 25 times. And he, like Steven just alluded to, didn't fumble, had many opportunities where he could have. Just for him not to turn the ball over outside of that play where David Sills fell to the ground, which I don't even count. I thought he was tremendous in that game.
Yeah, you gave him an A, I saw. I think that's spot on. Grade-wise, A through F, A plus through F, I should say. I think an A is perfect because I can only remember 2 times where Jones made off-target throws in that game. And unfortunately, they were in pretty important spots. He threw behind Shepard, I think, on a slant where it could have been a first down, and there was the slant to Galladay to get in field goal range right before halftime. But outside of those 2 plays out of the entire game, I thought Jones was like flawless. So you got to give him a very high grade for that. And the guy had nothing to work with. I do think sometimes we give the quarterbacks too much of a pass here. That was a game where the dude had nothing to work with. I will fully admit that. So I think Jones did all he could. Sucks we lost that game because, I really did feel once we went up 13-6 on the Barkley touchdown, we were going to win that game. I really felt that. But, of course, Dallas came right back and answered. So it sucked to lose that way. But, yeah, I mean, I've seen positive, I guess, signs from Daniel Jones in terms of pocket awareness the past couple of weeks. It has been just, I don't know if it's night and day better, but it's noticeably better, Daniel Jones, in terms of getting out of the pocket when he needs to, trying to make throws on the run. He made a couple nice ones this week that were dropped. Tanner Hudson had it right in his freaking chest between the numbers. Slayton. Oh my God. Yeah. That's why.
It's even a 60-yard touchdown.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And it's still created a pass interference and, but
gotta catch it. Yeah.
He's got to catch it. And the other thing I'll say, Mike, is, people just look at the numbers. They say, he only threw for 70 yards. Yeah. First off, I don't think he played the entire 4th quarter. Secondly, they were giving him running lanes.
He wasn't asked to do that. Daniel Jones executed the game plan from his coaches perfectly, which is what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
Yeah, he made winning football plays.
Exactly.
And that's all I want from Daniel Jones this year. That's what I want from my quarterback, period. I don't need the fantasy stats. And so far this year, Jones has played well. I'm not going to say he's played immaculate, but he's played well in terms of situational football, which is a big upgrade for me. And we'll see if he can continue to grow. Hopefully, as this offense grows around him and we get some wide receivers back and this offensive line gets better over the course of the year. But so far, so good. I'm not going to say so great, but so good with Daniel Jones. And hopefully he continues to grow and Barkley continues to just carry this offense.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know how much longer. I don't know how sustainable this is because eventually Jones is going to be asked to pass the ball more. You can't go an entire season like that. So my concern is, are they going to be that effective of a passing offense? And you mentioned we're a better run blocking offensive line. Guys like Feliciano, guys like Lewinsky were known as better run blockers when they came here. So can the receivers get open? Can Daniel Jones consistently put the ball in the right spot? Can the offensive line block? Can we keep up with these better offenses? Not name the Chicago Bears and not, the Panthers, teams like that. Can we keep up with better teams? And we'll find out because they are playing better teams in the upcoming 2 weeks. You can run on Green Bay, so this might be a run-heavy attack, and Jones or Tyrod might not even play, which we probably get to later, but that would suck. But yeah, my concern is can this passing offense open things up when they need to? That question has yet to be answered.
I agree. Yeah. I think they will eventually. I just don't think we're there yet.
Yeah.
John, man, thank you very much, man. With DJ not stuffing the stat sheet, but dragging us to W's, if he keeps this up and doesn't fill the stat sheet, is there any way he gets an extension? I don't know what your definition of an extension is, John. I don't see him getting like a 4 or 5 year extension. I never thought that going into the year, pretty much outside of anything the guy did. Outside of winning a Super Bowl or maybe going to a Super Bowl like Joe Burrow did last year, and playing at a really, really high level. Never thought he was going to get that, especially after you saw Mike before the year started that the Giants weren't going to commit $21 million to him before the year started. Now, if your question is, can he remain on as a New York Giant? Yeah, I've always believed that's at least a possibility going into the year. The coaching staff is not one thing you could say about this coaching staff, Mike. Pretty much, they don't lie. They don't lie, and maybe you could catch small lies here and there. But going into the draft, they told you 2 months before the draft, Daniel Jones is our quarterback. We're not drafting a quarterback.
Right.
They've continued to say they really like Daniel Jones. They've continued to say they really like Saquon Barkley. That doesn't mean that they won't move off of Daniel Jones. It's all going to depend on a lot of variables at the end of the offseason. But could I foresee a scenario where the Giants look at this team, if we're picking 18, 20, and they say, look at all the holes on this team. We have no wide receivers. We have, and it would cost us a boatload to be able to move up and get a quarterback where we already have so many holes on our team. 100%. I could foresee a scenario where Daniel Jones is back on a short-term contract.
It just depends how how Joe Schoen looks at it. I can try and put myself in his brain, but if Joe Schoen is sitting there and saying, I can really see Daniel Jones being a top 15 quarterback if we gave him better weapons, if that's his mindset, then yeah, he can be back here next year. I do ultimately think they want their own guy, but if Daniel Jones plays to a level where like he looks like he's already possibly the guy and you just need to give him a couple weapons, then yeah, they could bring him back. But it all depends where they're drafting, how the rest of the year goes. There's still so much left to be answered about that. I don't even want to talk about it. But yeah, it's a possibility.
13 more weeks to analyze this team and see where we're picking. And I know everybody wants to talk about it because that's the biggest question. That and Saquon at the end of the year. Are they going to remain on his New York Giants? And let's see how the rest of the year plays out.
Yep.
Let's see how the rest of the year plays out. But is it possible? Yeah, it's certainly possible.
Right.
Hey, man, thank you very much, man. As much as I hated Gettleman, I think we can give him props for picking Thomas. That dude is so good, it almost brings a tear to my eye. Here's what I'm gonna say, Mike. Okay, and I know people hate. A lot of Giants fans hate when, and you're not. I'm not putting you in there with these fans.
No, you can.
Even though you get that reputation, I think you got much more fair with Gettleman the last couple of years. 100%.
Yep.
Dave Gettleman was not completely bad. He was not completely bad. His last year was atrocious. Okay, atrocious.
2018, 2021, atrocious. Yes.
Atrocious. Andrew Thomas is a big-time piece. Andrew Thomas might be outside of the quarterback position, Mike. Is this crazy for me to say this? Outside of the quarterback position, if you take quarterbacks out of the scenario, because obviously that's the most important position, is Andrew Thomas the most valuable player in the NFL right now when you factor in that he's still on his rookie salary in the position that he plays?
Yeah, I was gonna say like maybe an older player.
And how young he is. He's
up there. You can make the argument for like a Jamar Chase, but I don't think I would go there. There are some really good young cornerbacks in this league, but yeah, I mean, I think
he's in the discussion. Let's put it that way.
Definitely, top 5 in the discussion. Absolutely.
And he drafted him. I give him credit for the Evan Neal pick because he traded back, and he would have been beyond dumb to not take a right tackle, knowing that Nate Solder wasn't there. So he basically provided Joe Schoen with 2 bookend tackles, Xavier McKinney. There were pieces here.
Dexter Lawrence, yep.
Dexter Lawrence now looks a lot better with a better coaching staff. So there were pieces here. And hopefully Shane takes those pieces and really elevates this football team. But yeah, I think you're starting this. And Saquon Barkley obviously looks great this year now off the injury. So I'm really excited to see where this team could go, not just this year, but in the future. And hopefully Shane's going to be the guy that gets us there.
Yeah, I've always thought Gettleman had an eye for talent in a way. Of course, he's missed at times, but the guy knew what a good football player looked like. He just didn't know how to run a football team in the modern NFL. Like in terms of allocating your cap space to the right positions and just like trading back in the draft and just the little things like that, he had no idea. He was very just not good at those things, which is why he annoyed me. And of course, he gave money irresponsibly to Galladay and Solder and just these Golden Tate, these unnecessary contracts.
Rudolph, after you found out about the injury and you could have gotten out of it. The Logan Ryan 3-year extension.
Jonathan Stewart. I mean, you can go on and on. Just veterans that did not deserve the money that we gave them. But yeah, I mean, it just shows the amount coaching.
Even Love, Mike. Love was a good pick too.
Oh, he was. He was a 4th rounder, right? I mean, that's Darnay Holmes. I mean, kind of. Yeah, I mean, I think this coaching staff is bringing out the best in those players. I think it works both ways. I think the coaches, Pat Shurmur, Joe Judge, they stood no chance because they had to work under Gettleman. But at the same time, the coaches were not getting the best out of Gettleman's players. So I think it kind of goes both ways. I do think Gettleman is the main culprit here of why this team is
100%.
where we're at right now. But yeah, the coaching could have been a lot better. I think Shermer called a good offense. We both agree with that. Joe Judge can sell a used car very well, but outside of that, they weren't.
Joe Judge, Mike, and I did not defend them at the end. I thought they needed to move on, especially because I didn't want it to handicap the GM that you were going to bring in. And the QB sneak was embarrassing. The way that he went, how he broke down with the media and everything else. It was time to make the move.
You don't see players with golf clubs in front of their lockers. Remember that.
But Mike, if we're being fair, much like a lot of the people in this organization, Joe Judge was set up to fail. He just was. But it is what it is. We move on, and so far, I'm
thankful it worked out the way it did, because I think we're in a great spot right now. It might take 1 or 2 years to really get to the top. I'm not saying Super Bowl, but like in the Super Bowl contender conversation. But like what happened last year, I'm thankful for it, because Joe Judge might have still been here if they were able to get 6-7 wins. You know what I mean? So we cleaned the slate. John Mayer finally did the right thing, and we're starting to see the benefits of that.
Yeah, man. King John, man, thank you very much, man. LO, when it comes down to the wide receivers, I think we should spread around Kenny Galladay's money. Yeah, I wish we could, King John. I wish you were allowed to do that. Unfortunately, you're not. Next year, we're going to cut him, though. We'll save about $6 million, I think it is, if we cut him, which could, there's about, I don't know, Mike, probably about 200 people in the NFL that are better than him that you could give $6 million to that could come and play for this football team. So, I'm looking forward to when we get him off this team. I'm just done with Kenny Galladay.
Do you think anybody would pick up Kenny Galladay next year?
Yeah, somebody will.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, not for his contract, obviously.
No. I'm saying even like a 1 year, $2 million deal. Do you think somebody would do that?
Somebody would give him a shot. Maybe I'm wrong, but obviously he's not very good though, because the fact that David Sills beat him out, like, he's obviously not very good.
I've seen worse players get contracts, but man, if I was a GM, I don't know how I could look at Galladay and think he has anything left. I don't know.
I mean, Kelvin Benjamin got a camp invite.
That's true. That's true.
And then according to Wes Steinberg on Twitter, he stole the food from the cafeteria, and that's why the Giants got rid of him. But
that's a real story, by the way. I'm not going to say who told me this. It's a Brooklyn Nets thing. I'm a Nets fan. Apparently, James Harden was in trouble with the Nets because he was eating too many chips. I heard that from somebody who covered the team. Not going to say who it was, but these things happen. And luckily it's not the Giants, but yeah.
Well, I remember when James Harden came into camp, he looked like he weighed at least 50 pounds overweight for you guys. Or maybe that was with the Rockets, rather, when he was 14.
Yeah, Rockets. He was traded that same year, but yeah.
Yeah. Bill, man, thank you so much, man. No question. Just want to support the channel. Appreciate everyone in the stream. Great comments and points, man. Bill, man, thank you so much, man. Bill is always in here showing love and a great supporter. And yeah, man, I always remember a comment you said, man. There was a video I made where obviously it was like really dark times last year. And I think I said something to him. Like, I was like, yeah, man, I hate being negative, but unfortunately that's the way I got to be, something like that. And then Bill responded. He's like, no, man, he's like, keep doing you or something like that. He said that's why people watch you. That's why I watch you, because you shine a light on this horrible situation. Right. So it meant a lot to me when he said that. It's just something that I remembered as I was reading that super chat, Bill. So
you are way more positive than me. I give you a lot of credit. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. No,
it's not easy, man. And Roldy, man, thank you very much, man. That's an upgrade to you, Chris. Jones being okay is an upgrade. Oh, God, here we go. Is that what we've become as fans? Our quarterback is to be okay. We are fine with that. Michael, are you cool? Oh, he's coming after you too now. Are you cool with that? Never thought I'd see the day. Roldy's starting to break his computer. Mike, what you think?
He's right. I think when it comes to this quarterback position, we as fans kind of want to settle for mediocrity, which I think is a bad way to look at it. I think some people are so fixated on making Daniel Jones work, and I get it. He's a great kid, great teammate, lovable guy, right? He's our guy. Everyone laughed at him when he was drafted. He's our guy, right? But Daniel Jones, I think you said it yourself. Like, he has a Ryan Tannehill type ceiling, like an average to above average quarterback. To me, that's kind of settling for mediocrity. Would I rather take a shot in the draft on a guy that had the tools of a Trey Lance or a Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen type guy who's 6'5" and has a rocket arm? Absolutely. But I don't
think either one of us are saying we wouldn't be open to that.
No, I mean,
I think it would have cut. First off, Mike, as content creators or just Giants fans, Daniel Jones is the quarterback. I'm going to analyze him and give my opinion on him week to week.
Right.
Just because I say he does really well within a week and I like the way he's playing this year doesn't mean I'm sold on him and doesn't mean I want to accept okay quarterback play long term. I don't want to commit to Daniel Jones long term right now.
You'd be crazy.
When I say I could foresee a scenario, I'm very against, much like I said all of last offseason, and you agree with me on this, not forcing a quarterback pick. But if there was a quarterback there that they think has Josh Allen upside and they could grab him where they're picking, or there's a reasonable trade where they can move up to get the guy, yeah, I'm not going to bitch and moan about that.
Right.
They got to go out and pick their guy, and they can reset the rookie clock. So that's why I said it's too early to be talking about this. We don't know where we're going to be picking. We don't know what this draft class is going to look like when we get there. And it's easy to say just trade up. Every team in the world is looking for a quarterback because nobody drafted one this year.
Yeah.
So let's get to the draft first. Let's see what these quarterbacks look like and go from there.
Yeah, you can't force one. Like, I think, honestly, in 2019, when we drafted Jones, there was a lot of pressure on Gettleman to take a quarterback that draft. And the way I looked at it was Kyler Murray was the only guy worth taking in the first round, and the rest of them I probably would have waited on. Whether that was Jones or Haskins, Drew Lock, any of those guys, they weren't like surefire franchise quarterbacks. And even Kyler Murray has his limitations for how impressive he is. But that was an instance where we kind of forced it. And we know Gettleman was infatuated with Justin Herbert. Imagine he took Josh Allen, the edge rusher, and then waited a year and traded up for Herbert, or took him at 5, 6, 7, whatever pick we would have been. That would have been the better route to go about it. But I do think in 2019, there was just public pressure, media pressure on Gettleman to just get that quarterback that year. And we got Daniel Jones. And look, I think any of us would have taken Justin Herbert knowing what we know now, but I think they may have rushed things in 2019. That's just how it went.
Oh, they definitely forced a quarterback pick.
Yeah.
They definitely forced a quarterback.
Everybody
said going into 2019 that was a horrible quarterback draft class. And obviously Murray hasn't even turned out great. He got paid, but he hasn't even turned out great. But everybody said going into that was a weak quarterback draft class. So, yeah, I just don't want to fall in that trap again. I don't want to force another quarterback pick. And this is supposed to be a better quarterback draft class. But if there's only 2 or 3 really good quarterbacks and we can't get them, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, Brian Dable, Joe Shane, and Mike Kafka came from watching 2 of the best quarterbacks and most physically gifted quarterbacks in the league, in Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. They know what it's supposed to look like. All right. If they don't see it with Daniel Jones, they'll move on. Right. They're not going to keep him.
And I'm going to trust them.
Exactly. That's the point. I'm going to trust these guys because they know what it looks like. We're just fans and we have opinions, of course, but these guys have seen it up close and they know what it's supposed to look like. And if they think Jones has too many limitations, which might be the case, then, hey, all right, you move on and it is what it is.
Yeah, we'll see. We got all year to figure it out.
Right.
Rel says a healthy Saquon should be a number 1 priority in the offseason. Let's talk about that because that's another big topic of conversation. And I think a lot of people are split on this. People see the term running back and they run away like Roldy. They run away scared.
I kind of do. Yeah. Okay.
I completely understand it. He's not a typical running back, Mike.
Absolutely.
You see the impact he's having on this offense. What do you do?
Let's see. All right. Saquon's 25. He'll be 26 next year when it starts, right?
Yeah.
And the Giants are going to have more cap space this offseason. So if it's me, I think what's the franchise?
Before you continue, let's assume we're drafting a quarterback.
Okay.
So let's assume we didn't spend money on Daniel Jones.
Right. Okay. I mean, yeah, it kind of keeps the answer the same. What's the franchise tag for a running back? Is it somewhere
10 million about
10? That's it? 10?
Yeah, it's low for a running back.
I would love to do that. I don't know if Saquon would play on that, but I would love to franchise tag him. I think that would be such a smart move. That's my number 1 option, but I don't know if he would go for that because he wants to guarantee the longevity of his contract. I get it. And we've talked about it before. The highest I would go on Saquon is like $13 million a year, and I don't want more than a 3-year commitment because maybe, I don't know, I hate saying 3. I kind of want to do 2 at most. Like maybe give him a 3-year deal that you can get out of after 2. Like that's something I'm comfortable with. But like when you're running backs in his later 20s, at that point, Saquon will be 28, 29. That's when it gets a bit dicey. And I think Saquon is built different. As you mentioned, he's different from most running backs. He might be great until his early 30s, but we don't know. We've already seen one serious injury, missed time in 2019, missed time in 2021. I mean, he hasn't been the most healthy back. He looks like the best back in football right now, but it has to last the entire season. I think the smartest thing is to franchise tag him, but I don't know if he'll go for that is the problem.
Probably won't.
No.
And I'm going to tell you what, if I was Saquon's agent, I would say you're an idiot. You sit out. You sit out and you wait till you get paid. And I know that hasn't worked in the past, specifically at that position. Well, it did. Le'Veon Bell got paid by the Jets the following year, right after he
then he went to average 2.7 per carry.
Yeah, no, it didn't work out for him on the field. It worked out for him financially.
Yes.
So we'll see. But I agree with you. I think if the Giants are going to keep Barkley, it's not going to be on the franchise tag. I think they're going to have to give him some kind of contract. And for me, it comes down to the years more than anything else. I'll go up to 15, but it's got to be the years. The years have to be right. It can't be a Zeke contract. I can't give you 6 years. I personally am willing to go to a 3-year commitment. 3-year commitment, which means 4 years, but really a 3-year commitment because you could get out after 3. That's what I would be willing to do if I was Joe Schoen. And this is all dependent on if Saquon Barkley can remain healthy and continue to play at this level all year, which I think he's going to. Health you can't predict. In football, anybody can go down with an injury. But in terms of the production of play, I think it's going to be there all year. I thought that before the year started. You thought that before the year started. We're seeing an even better version of Saquon Barkley. And the craziest thing about it, Mike, is the opposing defenses know exactly what we're going to do. Exactly what we're going to do. Because we've got guys like you and me playing wide receiver behind a subpar offensive line, and he's still doing it.
Exactly. Let me
he's valuable.
Let me ask you a question, because you asked me a good one about what if they draft a rookie quarterback? What if Saquon Barkley continues to play like this on a per game basis, but let's say at some point from late November to early December, he misses 3 or 4 games with like a knee sprain, right? Mm-hmm. Does that change your opinion in any way possible?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Here's what I'll say. This is what I'll say. If Barkley misses 3 games due to injury,
right,
I'll give him the franchise tag. Nothing else. You're not getting more than the franchise tag for me. And the franchise tag, I'll gladly bring you back. But I am not going to commit multiple years to a guy that's had a ACL tear and he gets hurt at a position, like you said, has low shelf life. So for me to give a multi-year commitment to Saquon Barkley, he's got to play all 17 games.
Yeah, they're going to play
that level, and he doesn't have like an ACL tear. It's like a bad ankle sprain, and he misses 3 weeks. I'll give you the franchise tag.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going past that.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think they're going to play hardball this offseason. I definitely think that if Saquon really has the 1,800 rushing yard and like 600 receiving yard type season, it just goes nuclear. They're going to play hardball. I don't think Joe Schoen's going to throw him a 4 or 5 year deal for a ton of money. I don't think Joe Schoen is that type of GM, especially for a running back at the age of 26. I don't think he wants to do that, but I hope they would come to some type of fair agreement around, $12 to $14 million per year. As we said, we don't think Saquon would play on the franchise tag. We don't know. We're not Saquon Barkley, but as you mentioned, it would be a stupid thing to do. I agree.
He'd be an idiot if he did.
It would. It'd be great for us, but I know he wants that security. So I don't know. There's got to be some type of middle ground. I'm sure Saquon believes he's worth $16, $17 million a year. Joe Schoen may look at it like, I'm not spending more than $13 million per year on a running back. Can they come to a common ground, a middle ground? And, that's the wait and see for the offseason.
Yeah, and I do think, especially if they draft a rookie quarterback, which I don't know if they're going to. Jones may very well be back. We don't know. It ups the probability he'll be back. Because then if you're Joe Schoen, you could say to yourself, all right, I got more money in the piggy bank. I'm not paying the quarterback. And this guy could really, really help my young quarterback coming up as a rookie, especially with all the lack of weapons that I currently have on this football team. So we'll see. By year's end, that's going to be another major question as well. Cruise on, man. Thank you very much, man. LOL. I read the comments from Giants fans that wanted Simmons over Thomas. Dude, cruise on. You and Mike was with us on this as well. I remember the entire draft process, Mike, and you remember Giants fans. People were going crazy about Isaiah Simmons. And the funniest thing, and we were all aboard the tackle train, but the funniest thing, Mike, was going into that draft. If you remember last year, and I actually watched back this video I did with JD Sports Talk, who's got a great channel. Louis Riddick came out, and he destroyed the New York Giants for the Andrew Thomas pick. Because obviously Andrew Thomas hadn't taken off yet from his rookie year. He looked bad in the preseason game against the Patriots. And that's when he came out with the take and said he was the worst tackle by far in the draft class. And it was a horrible pick and yada, 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 yada. And in that same take, Louis Riddick went on to say how bad the Giants offensive line was and how they haven't been able to fix it for 10 years. Louis Riddick, like a lot of Giants fans, what the funniest part about that for me, in the strongest tackle draft class in like 20 years, wanted to take Isaiah Simmons.
Right.
I'm not saying it, Yet you're criticizing the Giants for not fixing the offensive line, and you said you would have passed up on a tackle in the strongest draft class in 20 years. But yeah, Cruzon, you're 100% right. Tons and tons of Giants fans wanted Isaiah Simmons over Andrew Thomas. Could you imagine? Could you imagine
Oh, yeah.
we had Isaiah Simmons and not Andrew Thomas right now? Could you imagine?
I don't want to. I mean, Andrew Thomas was the one first round pick in the Gettleman era where I was like, yes, thank you. And like, look, I've gotten draft takes wrong before. Half these guys bust in the first round. This is the guy that wanted Josh Rosen. I actually have a little gag gift. My friends gave me a Josh Rosen bobblehead because they know how much I love the guy. So I have a Josh Rosen bobblehead. But look, I've had my misses in the past, but Andrew Thomas was a guy I was ecstatic when they got him. I'm like, thank God. I was not on board with Simmons. I thought he was very impressive. He was this new hybrid linebacker that can cover whoever. He's had impressive plays in the NFL so far, but he's not Andrew Thomas. And they needed a left tackle so badly. You had Thomas, you had Jedrick Wills, you had Tristan Wirfs, Becton kind of. I wasn't really a fan of him, but
God we didn't get him.
Yeah, I figured that was a Gettleman guy, so I was concerned about that. But they made the right choice, it looks like, so far, and just thank God we have him because, as you said, non-quarterback wise, he might be the most valuable guy on a rookie contract in the NFL right now, and that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, what's the second most important position on a football team?
Probably left tackle.
It's either the edge or the left tackle.
Yeah, edge, left tackle.
It's either Micah Parsons or Thomas for me. The way Thomas is playing.
Right. Oh, we could have had both. You're gonna make me cry.
So yeah, we could have. But that to me, outside of the quarterback, you factor in how young the guy is and how high of a level he's playing at the second or third most important position. It's pretty valuable. JD, man, thank you very much, man. GM aside, this staff makes the last look pathetic. You talk about the coaching staff. Yeah, I mean, the coaching staff is taking the same players and they're finding ways to win football games. And that's and the reason that you really know it's the coaching is because of all the injuries we've had and the adjustments they've made at halftime. We haven't been used to that with Judge and Shermer. You know, it goes back to week 1 against the Titans, the offensive adjustments we've made. And that's another thing, Mike. The offense this week actually looked good in the first half for the first time. We scored our first half touchdown all year.
That's true. You've been a better second half offensive team. Yeah. I mean, whatever. They saw something on tape with the Bears defense, and it was like they can't play the run, and they're going to fall for these bootlegs. And like Daniel Jones being a mobile quarterback was probably the difference this week, as great as Saquon was. And Saquon was, 80% of the reason we won that game. But still, Daniel Jones as a rushing threat was a huge reason as well. Not to take a shot here because we love the guy, but if Eli Manning was the quarterback, I don't know if he would have had that type of same output offensively. He would have passed the ball better, but like still running the ball wise, it would not have been the same because Daniel Jones is a dual threat quarterback.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. And you think about, man, I'm just thinking about what this offense could be if we get a wide receiver, whether it's Jones or whether it's another quarterback next year or the year after that's mobile with a guy like Barkley. And oh man, I'm getting excited. Joe, man, thank you very much, man. For sure, the last 4 games of the season will determine either our playoff run or which course of action as far as trades or draft position. God bless. We'll see, Joe. I mean, for all we know, the Giants could fall off. I mean, I'm not hoping this or saying this is going to happen, but we might lose our next 8 games. We don't know. So the NFL is a week-to-week sport. Your opinion of the team changes week to week. Maybe we win maybe we beat the Packers, and then all of a sudden we feel like this team is a legitimate playoff team. So your opinion of the change could change. Your team could change so quickly week to week. So I don't know. Let's get to those last 4 games and see if we got a real opportunity to make the playoffs. And then things will be very exciting. I would love to be able to have a legitimate shot to make the playoffs the last 3 or 4 weeks this year.
That'd be so fun. I mean, like it's so unpredictable. Like I know the year the Texans got Clowney the year before, they started off 2-0. And everyone's like, oh, the Texans are great. They lost their last 14 games and got the first overall pick. Yeah. Even the Ravens last year, they were in first place.
Well, the Panthers with Durano last year.
They were, yeah, and they suck.
The Broncos with Durano last year.
Yep.
Helped that they played us week 1.
True, yeah.
But, nameless, man, thank you very much, man. Am I crazy for thinking we have a better than 50% chance of being 4-2? Yes.
Oh. Wait.
I personally am going to say, oh no, 4-2. Wait, no.
Overall.
That would mean we have to split.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a little crazy. You think we have a 50% chance?
No.
Because, I mean, there's a legitimate chance Jones may not play both games. I think he's going to play the second game. I think he'll play against Baltimore. And I'm not saying there's no chance, but I wouldn't put it as high as 50%. If we could win one of these next 2 games, nameless grifter, I'll be going bananas. Because then you look at our next 4 and you say we have a legitimate chance to win 3 out of those. We do. We have a chance. So I would put it below 50. I don't think it's 0 though. Like some fans are gonna be like, no, there's no chance. No, I think there's reason to think that we could. Even this Packers game, Mike, and I'm obviously picking the Packers, especially being that Jones probably isn't going to be the quarterback. But Bailey Zappi just brought them to overtime. The Packers offense has not looked good. I know Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback, but they've looked sluggish. And I respect Rodgers, but I don't think they're going to light up the scoreboard. And you think back to that Seattle game, and I don't know if we're going to be able to do this because the Packers defense has been really good. But you think back to the Seattle game in 2020, we had Colt McCoy in there, but we ran the football, we controlled the clock, and the defense helped keep us in that football game. We found a way to win. So any week, anybody can win in the NFL. It can happen if you can control the line of scrimmage, control the clock. Obviously, I'm picking the Packers, but I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, I would be moderately surprised if we won either one of the next 2. But it can happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Giants, for the way they play, have a better chance versus the Packers because you can run on the Packers, but the Ravens, their pass defense sucks, but we can't pass the ball. So I feel like we have a better. I feel like for the Giants matchup wise, this Packers matchup is probably better, and it's a neutral field, which is helpful. But yeah, it's concerning. I mean, anytime you play Aaron Rodgers, he so rarely makes mistakes. He threw his first pick 6 since like 2017 last week, and you mentioned Bailey Zappi, who was a rookie in the 4th round, took them to overtime until the overtime period expired. So they gave him a good run, but that was on the backs of their running backs. There were a couple big passing plays for the Patriots, but mostly just ground and pound with Damian Harris or Ramondre Stevenson. The Giants
can say this right now, Mike.
They can do that with Barkley.
Exactly. If we could do that, easier said than done. But if we can do that, we got a chance.
What's the spread for that game? Is it 7.5 still?
I think it's 7. It was either 7 or 7.5.
Because I think if either Jones, which is unlikely, or Tyrod, which we'll see, if one of those guys starts, I would pick the Giants to cover. I think they can keep it close. All right. I look, Aaron Rodgers can beat us 35-7. I wouldn't be shocked. But I really do think the Giants, based on the matchup and how effectively they should be able to run the ball, it would help if we had Daniel Jones's legs, but even Tyrod, if he's running, he's fine too. I think they can keep it close. The Packers might win by 4, 5, 6 points, but I do think the Giants can make that a 1-score game. And
if you can make it a 1-score game, that means you have a chance.
Exactly.
What if Rodgers fumbles it unexpectedly, or they muff a kick, or you don't know. Yeah. So that's why they play the games, Mike. Jared, man, thank you very much, man. Thoughts on Andy Isabella? Mike, my first thoughts on him is he's got a pulse, he's a warm body, and that makes him qualified to be a New York Giants wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I'm looking up his numbers now. There was one play I remember from his career. It was like a Thursday night game. He caught like a 75-yard touchdown. It was a cool play. It was like a screen pass. But outside of that, he's done nothing. I mean, he's been in the NFL for how many years? 3, 4 years. He couldn't even start over guys like Greg Dortch, who nobody heard of. And the Cardinals never even gave him a chance. There has to be a reason for that. Not to say Cliff Kingsbury is the best coach. Maybe he's missing something, but I think they traded up for Isabella, right? Or something. They were very high on him.
If I'm not mistaken, I think they took Isabella with the pick they received for Josh Rosen.
Maybe.
I could be wrong on that, but I think it was the same draft they traded Rosen. And I think I might be wrong on that, though.
2019. Yeah, I mean, they got a 2nd rounder for Rosen. I thought Isabella was a 3rd rounder, but you might be right. But the fact they never gave him a real chance in any of those years is concerning. So I don't know if they're missing something. I think some team will give him a shot on the practice squad. Maybe it's the Giants, but I don't know if Isabella has any type of ties to the Giants organization. But the Giants did pass on Cole Beasley, who is a similar-ish player. Isabella probably has more juice because he's younger and more elusive and probably faster. But I don't know. If they didn't take a chance on Beasley, I don't know why they would try Isabella here.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. But yeah, I would be open. I'd be happy if they brought him in. But that's because I'd be happy if they brought in any wide receiver. But yeah, I mean, he went to UMass, same school as Victor Cruz. Like you said, he's got some speed, and obviously, I liked him. I remember watching him coming out of college. I liked him as a potential target for the Giants in the 3rd round that draft. So we'll see. But but that's not a compliment to Isabella. I mean, we got David Sills right now as our number 2. We got Richie James as our number 1. Isabella could actually come here and actually start.
Right.
So, yeah, I'd be open to it. Yes.
His best season was 2020, 21 catches, 224 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's not great.
No, but to be, I mean, they had some weapons over there, right? With
Oh,
Kirk,
yeah.
with
D-Hop.
obviously Hopkins.
Yeah.
So maybe maybe he's down in the depth chart. I don't know. Take a
Maybe.
shot on him. Dukes, man, thank you very much, man. If Cooper Rush was still on the Giants, would he beat out Daniel Jones?
No.
I'm going to say no. I know some Giants fans are going to look at Cooper Rush and the way he's playing. They're going to say, "Oh, he played better than Daniel Jones head to head." Cooper Rush had blocking when they played the Giants. Daniel Jones was pressured 25 times.
Right.
Do I think Cooper Rush would look the same as he's looking in Dallas on the Giants? Absolutely not. So no, I think Daniel Jones would have beaten out Cooper Rush.
Yeah, like Jones and Rush are doing similar things. Like they're not like play style wise, but they're doing what the coaches are asking them to do, and they're winning ball games. That's it. Like I don't think Cooper Rush has done anything like super impressive. His touchdown throw on the run to Gallup this week was kind of impressive, but like we saw the CD Lamb throw where he dropped it. That was a nice throw, but Cooper Rush doesn't like excite me too much. I know I'm a Giants fan, but still, like I don't think he's that great. At least Jones has the rushing ability. I think Jones like in a vacuum is a better player than Cooper Rush. So no, I don't think Rush would have been the Giants quarterback right now, but Rush has proved he's competent. If you put a good team around him, I know Dallas has some offensive line issues this year, but he's winning games. He's making throws when he needs to, but he's not going above and beyond.
He's got a supporting cast.
That's it. Yeah.
And you know what's crazy? I saw people talking about this on Twitter all week. Look at the year that Jared Goff is having. Why do you think he's having that year? Because the Lions are the best offensive line in the NFL.
I was going to say because their defense is the worst in the NFL.
Well, that too, but their offensive line is incredible.
It is.
I watched several, a lot of film breakdowns and yada yada yada. They were missing tons of their weapons last week. He still throws for 4 touchdowns because they can block. You put a quarterback that's at least decent behind a line that's the best in the league, they're going to make plays.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the way I look at Cooper Rush. You put Cooper Rush on the Giants, he's not the Cooper Rush you see in Dallas. You put Jared Goff on the Giants, he's not the same Jared Goff you see in the Detroit Lions.
Right.
So no, my answer is no. I think Jones would have beat him out.
And I know it's the Seahawks, but what Goff did was impressive because they were without Amon-Ra St. Brown and DeAndre Swift. So it was very impressive. But you're right. The Lions have a very, very underrated offensive line. It might be a top 5 unit. Yeah, it's really good. Like, what's his name? Penei Sewell gets no media attention, but he's awesome. Like he was a, top 10 pick, but he's had a great career and their line's good. So that's why that offense is moving. They got good playmakers too, as we mentioned, Hawkinson and St. Brown and all those guys. But still, I mean, Jared Goff has been impressive. He had 34 fantasy points for me this week. I still lost because my team sucks, but yeah.
Yeah. The crazy thing is, Mike, when they made that trade, and obviously the Lions still aren't a very good team because they're deep. But the craziest thing about the Lions, when you look at their team stats before I get into my next point, they are first in points for, first in yards for.
Yeah.
And they are 32nd in both of those categories on defense. I've never seen that. Like the worst in both categories and the best in both categories. Like polar opposites.
It's the extreme. Yeah.
Yeah. But the crazy thing to me, and a lot of people on Twitter have been bringing this up, these guys were just traded for each other. Obviously, picks were involved as well just 2 years ago. If I would have told you when that trade went down that Jared Goff would have had a much better situation right now than Matthew Stafford has with the Rams, you would have called me a moron.
Yeah. Because I was thinking that last night. If you took Cooper Kupp off the Rams right now, which I know it's a lot, Cooper Kupp's awesome, they would suck. Like they have nothing else. Allen Robinson, he's on like the Kenny Golladay trajectory right now. He's not looking good. So if you take Kupp away, I mean that offense. I mean Tyler Higbee's decent, but like they would not be good at all. And you're right. I honestly think that Jared Goff has a better supporting cast than Matthew Stafford right now. At least he got a ring, but you are right.
The Rams line's horrible.
It is. They're injured, but Whitworth's gone. But yeah, they stay. I think they lost their center last night too, right? He's out for like a month or two. Yeah.
Hey man, thank you very much, man. I get the Herbert argument, but the team wouldn't have been that good, and that would set him up to fail, and we wouldn't have gotten Thomas either. I think Herbert is one of the rare quarterbacks. Not saying he can win a Super Bowl without support, but I think he's one of the rare quarterbacks that is in that elite level. Mm-hmm. Because when he went to the Chargers, you saw it, and they didn't have a very good offensive line when he went there. They weren't winning tons of games, but he was still playing really well. He's one, and there's not many. There's like 4, and I think he's one of them. So I do think he still would have been pretty good here.
Yeah, no,
probably, but he still would have been pretty damn good.
Exactly. Yeah, I think Herbert is just naturally talented to the point where like he would have been able to you still would have been able to see, wow, that's a special quarterback right there. Like he
Yeah.
would not have Mike Williams and Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler, but like still, he would have been good enough where we as Giants fans would have been sold by now that okay, this guy's our future quarterback. We just got to get the pieces around him, which
Mhm.
it's happened before, but obviously you want the entire team to be good around him. And that's the thing. Eventually, because I know some fans have the argument of like you should not take a quarterback until the rest of your team is good. I don't believe in that
No,
stuff.
I
I
don't believe
really,
that
I
either.
don't. It's stupid because the teams that are drafting the highest are going to take like the best quarterbacks. That's how it works. Like that's why Jacksonville got Trevor Lawrence. You know what I mean? Like if the Jacksonville
I,
Jaguars came off a 7-9 season, they were not going to get Lawrence unless they traded up. So sometimes you
I
have to.
believe, I believe, Mike, in an ideal world, yes, you would love to have the team situated for the quarterback
Right.
before he steps in, and that should always be your goal to strive to have the best possible situation for your quarterback. But if you're in a spot where you could get a guy that you feel could be on the level of a Justin Herbert in terms of an elite talent, you always got to take the quarterback.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Uh,
why I say like imagine if Jacksonville took like some other position player in that draft and passed on Lawrence, and then Lawrence went to some other team and turned into one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Like they would be one of the dumbest,
oh, you have to, you have to.
decisions in history. You have to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but when there's not a guy like that you feel about, you wait, and
Yeah.
and I think that's what the Giants did this year.
There are certain guys like I'm trying to think. Like I think Trey Lance is a guy who needs a pretty good team around him to do what he does at a high
Mac
level. Mac
Jones,
Jones, yeah, Mac Jones is the perfect example. That's a
yeah,
guy, and even him with a pretty good Patriots team around him, we've seen he has deficiencies. I think Mac Jones on the Giants would be worse than Daniel
disaster,
Jones. It would be bad. Yeah, so
disaster.
that's the perfect example right there.
Noah, man, thank you very much, man. Is the new quarterback sucks? If the new quarterback sucks, Dable is gone. Yeah, yes. Ultimately,
Yeah,
yes, probably.
yeah.
If we draft a quarterback third overall, we trade up and give away multiple draft assets to do it. Yeah, ultimately, the GM and the head coach are going to be judged on that quarterback. Obviously, they're going to get time, but if the guy's garbage after 3 or 4 years, that means the team's probably going to be garbage because we gave away a ton of draft capital to draft the guy. So yeah, but when a GM misses on a quarterback with that high of a pick, if we go that route, ultimately that's what they're going to be judged on. Like,
I think that depends. In most cases, yes, the GM would be canned, but let's say the Giants get 7 wins this year, 6, 7
yeah,
wins.
yeah,
They draft a quarterback. They get another 6, 7 wins with a rookie quarterback, and
yeah.
then in the quarterback's second year, they jump up to 8 or 9 wins. But
Okay. Well, yeah, okay.
it's because the rest of the team is playing really well, and
That's
it's
true.
just
That's true.
like we saw with Mitch Trubisky. That somehow that regime got a second shot at getting Justin Fields. It only lasted 1 extra year, but I don't know if that would be a nail in the coffin. It has to. We have to see
It
how it
would have
plays
to be a
out.
combination of the quarterback failing and the team not playing well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, like that Bears team, though, the defense was really good. They won 12 games with Trubisky at
Yeah.
quarterback. So, but yeah, yes. But generally speaking, if you miss on a very high quarterback pick, you're probably going to be in
If
trouble.
that quarterback sucks and the team's a disaster and they're winning 3, 4 games a year, then they're done. But if
Yeah,
they're staying around 500, then they might get a second crack at
they
it.
might get a second crack.
Yeah.
Michael, he says Jones not a world beater, but you see the progress and he gives us the best chance to win.
Yeah.
Saquon, of course, he gives us the best chance to win. Of course, he gives us the best
Yeah.
chance. It's crazy that people thought that Tyrod Taylor gave us a better chance to win before the
And I
start.
will say, I give Tyrod credit. I know it was an interception, but I'm happy he took that deep shot. We needed that. I mean, like, it was a stupid throw, but
It
like,
was a stupid throw.
we have not seen a 50-yard throw in God
Yeah,
knows how
yeah.
long. It was
And
refreshing.
listen, I'll give and I know a lot of people like bash Taylor for for taking the hit that he did, especially being
Yeah.
that he's the quarterback and now he's going to be out this week. But you know what, man? I give him credit, man. He put his body on the line. This is a violent sport, and he sacrificed himself for the betterment of the team in that game, at least. And
Mhm.
so I got nothing against Tyrod Taylor. I hope he if he does get an opportunity to play this week, if Jones doesn't, he plays great. But yeah, I was just always under the impression that Jones gave us the better chance to win. But he played his heart out. When he got the opportunity, he did come up with a couple of crucial first downs on the ground last week. So give him credit
Mhm.
for that.
Yeah, no, he looked fine outside of the pick. I mean, he was moving the ball at least, you know. It wasn't
With his
much of a
legs,
sample
with his
size.
legs.
Yeah.
But to be fair, most quarterbacks ain't going to be moving it with their arms with the
Yeah,
receivers
yeah.
we have. Michael says, I read the first part. Jones not a world beater, but you see progress. It gives us the best chance to win. Saquon has to be the focus 100%, especially right now until such time that line gets better and hopefully we get some of these wide receivers healthy. Then maybe you start to at least even it out more, and that makes Saquon even more effective. People were happy to see OBJ leave. Now look at us, the wide receiver. Let's not do this again. That's a fair perspective. Definitely.
Yes, yeah.
And Mike, what I'm scared of is what a lot of fans want. If we, because I'm going to continue to say, if we're picking 15, we're going to have to trade up to get a quarterback. We're not going to stay at 15 and just hope that one of these guys falls.
Yeah, right.
And you don't want to bring back Barkley, so we have no weapons as is outside of him. So you want to get rid of one of the top, in my opinion, top 3 or 4 weapons in all of football.
Yeah.
Wide receiver, running back included. That's the level he's playing at. You want to get rid of that, and we have no wide receivers to begin with. And then you want to trade away our first round pick and probably our second round pick in next year's draft to move up and get a quarterback and a potential future pick. How are you going to get weapons? How are you going to build around this quarterback? How are you going to give that rookie an opportunity to be successful? So I hope we could keep Barkley. I hope it makes sense.
Yeah, I go back to this Dave Gettleman quote, which is one of the few I agree with. He said, "You don't quit on talent," which is a big contradictory because he traded Odell like a few months later. But he's right. Like, you don't quit on talent. If you have a guy as talented as Saquon Barkley, don't let him walk. At least franchise him at worst. See what happens, right? Unless he like tears his ACL, God forbid, or something like that. But you get my point. Like, if you have a guy as talented as an Odell Beckham, despite kissing the net and some doing some stupid dances, that guy at his peak, Odell, was top 3 in the NFL weapon wise, and that's a guy you don't want to quit on. It worked out because he tore his ACL multiple times and never had consistency with Cleveland or the Rams. But it's if you have a guy that talented at Saquon or Odell's level at their peak, you don't want to quit on them because those players are really special. But you also don't want to fall into the Ezekiel Elliott situation, as you mentioned, with the Cowboys.
It's a tough balancing act.
It's
a tough balancing act. And the reason people question outside of the running back is he wasn't a guy drafted by Shane. So it's I understand why it's a topic of conversation and the injury history that he's had.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, he says, sorry for the misspellings. So far, you haven't had any. Spell check is the devil. Prioritize the line still, and you guys rock. Thank you for the dedication, one game at a time. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you.
Yeah, I should be shouting out Mike, by the way. His thumbnail's in his logo's in the thumbnail. If you don't know Mike, MiketooNice. We do this show bi-weekly. Next week it'll be on his channel. Not sure if we'll go live. We've done it pre-recorded the first couple weeks, but maybe we'll do it live. If not, check it out on the pre-recorded. So yeah, Mike's got a really good channel as well. Always like when you come on and talk Giants. So I appreciate you for coming on, man.
No problem.
Quoted, he says, Tana, I want to make a wager with you.
Uh-oh.
If the Giants make the playoffs, you got to do the one chip challenge for each playoff game they win.
What the hell is a one chip challenge?
Oh, you don't know what the one chip challenge is? I only know because I saw it on Twitter like a year or two ago. So basically, it's literally a package, like just like a small package with one chip in it, like a tortilla chip. That chip is like the hottest thing you'll ever eat in your life. And yeah, so it's just like the spiciest thing you'll ever eat in your life. And a lot of people like film themselves eating the chip and freaking out. And I'll tell you what, Coded, I will absolutely do that. You could bookmark this. And I don't even know if they're still available because I don't even know if that's still a popular thing. But if I could still buy the one chip, I will buy one in preparation if the New York Giants do win a playoff game if we make the playoffs. And I will absolutely do the one chip challenge on stream if the New York Giants win a playoff game. You have my word, Cody.
My question is, why would you punish yourself after the Giants win a playoff game? Shouldn't that be more of a...
I would celebrate for like 3 hours.
Okay.
I would do like a 3 victory shots, celebrate with the chat, but then I would be a man of my word.
Okay. Fair enough.
You make that sacrifice if that means that the New York Giants are going to win a playoff game.
That's true. We would do some messed up things for a playoff victory. That's true.
And Johnny Boy, man, thank you so much, man, for the $3 super sticker. I'm trying to see what it is. So a little fist bump, man. Johnny, man, thank you so much for being here, buddy. Thank you to everybody for being here. If you haven't done so, hit the thumbs up. More importantly, subscribe to MiketooNice. Hopefully one of my mods can put his link in the chat below. Go over there, check him out. Stephen Lilly from across the pond. Giants don't lose London. They don't. We're undefeated in London, right, Mike?
Dolphins and Rams game, right? Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we got that going for us. And I'm going to go sabotage Rodgers' wheelchair. Old man Rodgers won't throw well either. I think Barkley will run them ragged. So Steve, he's from London, so maybe he's going to be going to the game. But I pray you're right, Stephen, man, from the UK, man. And I do think we have a chance. Not a great one, but I do think we have a chance for the reasons that we've talked about and the reason that Stephen just said. If we could control the ground game like we did against the Bears, which is not going to be as easy against the Packers, it at least gives you a chance. And the Packers offense hasn't looked great.
Right.
So we'll see.
We
You know
didn't.
what's crazy, Mike? Though, you go ahead, Mike. Go
No,
ahead.
I'm saying we talked about the Giants rushing offense versus the Packers defense. We didn't talk about getting a pass rush on Aaron Rodgers. That's a big part of the game as well,
Of
because if
course.
we can pressure him like we pressure Justin Fields, which is not easy, then the
And
Giants
he
have a
gets the ball
much
out
better
quick.
chance.
He's great at pre-snap reads.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say though, Mike. If Leonard Williams plays, and I don't know if he's playing or not, I'm going to lean that he's probably not.
Yeah.
But if Leonard Williams ever played, that to me is what disrupts quarterbacks more than anything is interior pressure.
Mm-hmm.
They may not always get the sack, but if you could force them out of the pocket with Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence, the New York Giants have a chance. We saw them do that against Russell Wilson when they played the Seahawks in 2020. Leonard Williams was a beast that entire game up the middle. I tell you what, man, I keep thinking about this interior defensive line when we get Leo back, the way Dex looked last week. I'm getting pumped up.
Yeah.
Like it has like an Eagle vibe to it in terms of how strong they usually are in the interior. Like I feel like this defensive line could be really good.
Yeah, we need some linebackers, but that D line's looking pretty damn good. You're right.
And John, man, thank you very much, man. Davis Webb over Jake Fromm, no if, ends, or but. Dude, I would take Mike over Jake Fromm.
Yeah.
Did you see Jake Fromm last year, man?
I did. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
if you go to like his career accomplishments page, it's going to say that he stands out for a QB sneak on 3rd and 9.
It's true. He'll always be remembered for that. That is very true.
Just like Mark Sanchez for the butt fumble. Chris B says, do you think Webb could get the passing game going? No.
They won't let him open it up. It's going to be a lot of what we saw this past week, like the Daniel Jones 71 passing yards type shit. Like, they're not going to let him air it out like Tyrod.
He's got nobody to throw to.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be much like this, like I said, 2020, the Seattle game where we relied on Gettleman. I think that's how we have any chance to win this game. You keep Rodgers off the field, you win the time of possession, you keep your defense fresh, and you hope your defense can create a couple of turnovers and try to find a way to get a win. But if we're going to win, it's going to be sloppy. I don't think Webb's going to go out there and sling the rock.
Was that game that was the Seattle game was the Gallman Alfred Morris game, right? Those two? Oh my gosh. That's
funny.
Like
I'm just curious real quick. I'm going to look up the box score to that game. What was it? 2020, right?
Yes, 2020 week 13.
Yeah, so we won 17-12 in that game. And in that game, we threw for 105 yards.
Oh.
We threw for 105 yards, but we ran for 190 on 31 carries. Obviously the defense played great. And then when you look at the time of possession, Giants won. The time of possession was about even. It was 30-30. But we kept it in check, and we were able to run the ball. That's how we won that game.
That was the Patrick Graham masterclass. That was probably his best game as Giants DC.
Oh, 100%. And the Chiefs game last year. I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah.
He was a really good performance last year against the Chiefs. Jason says, fellas, how good is it to say the Giants actually took advantage of the defense? Those bootlegs were killing the Bears. They dominated the Bears the first half. That's what I wanted to see going into the season. Can we dominate? Jason, and you saw signs of it before this week in terms of the play calling. Everybody complained. I said it with you, I think, the week after everybody was complaining about it. Last time we did the show, or maybe the second to last time we did the show, when everybody was complaining about Daniel Jones missing reads. Well, for him to miss reads, that means guys are running open. So you saw signs of it that this coaching staff was smart offensively, and they were starting to create opportunities in terms of the passing game. So and this week they would have created opportunities in terms of the passing game, but the Bears completely sold out, and instead Jones had open running lanes. So I almost looked at that as like 40-yard passes when he took off and ran with it. So the Giants offensive coordinator so far, obviously with Kafka, has done a really good job, and hopefully they can continue it. I know people look at the offense and they say, "Oh, where's the passing yards?" We're 19th in yards. And obviously a lot of the credit has to go to Barkley, but 19th in yards without any wide receivers with a developing offensive line is pretty good.
Yep. I mean, it just leaves you encouraged for what could be. I mean, when Wandale comes back and when Tony comes back, whenever that is, we'll see it open up a bit more. And once again, they're going to need those points against better teams. Even Jacksonville is no slouch these days. So they're going to need to pass the ball at some point, you would think. And once they get some healthy bodies.
Jacksonville and the Detroit game, we're going to have to open it up.
Yeah.
Got to open it up in those games because they're going to put up points, and they're vulnerable to giving up points. Yep. So we're going to have to open it up.
Same with the Ravens, too. I know it's soon, but yeah.
Yep. Jay Rada says, Kenny Golladay to the Rams. They need wide receiver, maybe rework the contract. No chance. We're not trading Kenny Golladay. It would cost us more to trade him than to just keep him because of the dead cap hit. So
Imagine they took Galladay and Allen Robinson. They would get clowned so hard for that.
we're not trading Galladay. We're going to cut him next year. He won't be here after this year, but we're not trading him. Could you foresee a scenario, Mike? And I think I can, because I know everybody's thinking about the future, understandably so. I'm not, and it wouldn't even be a move for this year specifically. But if the right deal was there, similar to like when we traded for Leonard Williams, where it was kind of not just for the here and now, but for that one specific year, but they had long-term plans with him.
Mm-hmm.
Did you foresee a scenario, and I don't even know who it would be, where the Giants could potentially trade for a wide receiver in season this year? Because it would do two things. It would help you further analyze Jones, and it would give you a receiver for the foreseeable future, something that we know, and at least you would know that going into the offseason. If the right deal was there, could you see something like that developing?
I think especially if guys don't come back healthy, like if they're still without Wandale for a while and Tony never gets on the field, I guess it's possible, but I don't think they want to go any higher than like a 3rd round pick. I don't think it's going to be like big draft capital, obviously. I don't know who that player would be. I don't know what players are like nearing the end of their contracts, but
I haven't even thought about who it could be.
It could, yeah.
Everybody's thinking that we're going to sell. Listen, if you could find a receiver like AJ Brown for the Eagles, not that I'm going to say that we could find that level, but if you could find a guy with as many receivers as we're going to need next year, I could see a scenario where it happens. Like you said, I don't want to give up 1st round picks. But I could see it. I
want to look up like the 2019 class, I think, is in their 4th year. I'm trying to think of which wide receivers are there that we could have possibly like Marquise Brown, like could have been an option, but he was traded for already, like someone like that. AJ Brown was traded. There's like nobody here that's like really worth caring about. I don't know. Deontay Johnson was extended by the Steelers, but yeah, I mean, something along those lines. I mean, there's nobody here still. I don't know, but yeah, I'll try to find some.
The Bills do it. I know, and again, it wasn't in season; it was off season, but they traded for their receiver, and you've seen a lot of teams do that around the league. Rather than sign them, they've traded for them.
Right.
Stephon Diggs with the Bills, like I just said. Obviously the Eagles with AJ Brown,
Tyreek Hill,
Tyreek Hill with the Dolphins. So we'll see. I mean, I don't even know who it would be. But people are mentioning DK Metcalf. That could.
I was just going to say I saw his name. I was like, oh, there's one.
That's a bad team, right? But at the same time, they may look at him as a guy that they want to have for the guy that they're probably going to draft next year. So we'll see. But there may be opportunities. T says, what current running back has earned their extension? CMC, Kamara, Elliott, Henry, Cook. Running backs don't typically work out. I don't know when Henry signed his. I'd have to look at it. I don't know.
2020, I think it was.
Okay, so he was great in 2020. Last year he was great too. He got hurt though. He only played 8 games, but he was still great, and they made the playoffs. So I would say he's without looking at the contract. I don't remember how long it was. That one probably worked out. The Elliott one obviously bombed. Cook got hurt. So yeah, it's risky. It's risky. It's risky. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
It's definitely risky. Mm-hmm. And I understand it. I understand why fans think it's risky.
Yeah, I think maybe Joe Mixon has played pretty well with his. I don't know. Dalvin Cook, kind of. I mean,
he's but we haven't this year though, right?
No, not really. Like we haven't seen one that was like a no doubt home run type signing. But most free agent signings aren't home run signings anyway, especially big contracts. I don't know. It's tough. I'll try to think of one.
Usually free agent signings, regardless of the position, like you said, they don't usually work out when it's the top of the market.
Here's a receiver that could work, and we just played him last week. He had a very nice catch. Darnell Mooney. I don't know if the Bears want to, but that's a previous regime pick as well. I mean, that's an option that I'm looking at right now. So
is he a free agent?
No. He was drafted in 2020, so he's in the 3rd year of his 4-year deal. So
you think the Bears would let him go?
I don't know, because he wasn't drafted by these guys, so they might, Ryan Poles might look to trade him. I don't know.
He's a good player.
Yeah, he is.
Theodore, thank you very much, man. What's going on, guys? I would like to know your opinion on the Meadowlands turf field. You saw Beckham came out and talked about that.
Oh, yeah.
Beckham came out and destroyed the field, so that tells you he's probably not going to come here. Many guys have torn their knees up on it. Do you think the Meadowlands will ever go back to the real grass? I do.
Really?
And I hope it's next year.
Wow.
I don't know if it'll be grass or a different type of turf, but I think they're going to make a change. There's been way too much criticism and Yes, I think they're going to make a change. They have to. They have to. The players.
It's like
even Barkley complained about it.
Yeah, it's not morally correct, if that makes sense, because the only reason they're doing this is because the turf is cheaper. I mean, obviously grass is cheaper, but in the long run to maintain it, the turf is going to be cheaper. So like these owners look at it that way and say, "Oh, turf's cheaper. Put that in my stadium." Like that's how they're looking at it. And I just think it's like kind of morally effed up because you see how much more likely these ACL tears and things like that are on turf. Like the players are your product. You know, if Saquon Barkley goes down again, like who's going to want to go to Giants games this year? Like he's the main attraction right now. So you got to keep your guys healthy. You'll make up for it in the end. You're still going to be rich regardless. Like they got to, look out for these players more than what they're doing right now, because I feel like it's all about the money. And it's something that kind of pisses me off in a way because it's really all about the money.
If you're going to invest millions upon millions upon millions of dollars in these players, and I don't know how much it costs to change the field, but I can't imagine it's more than a couple of million.
Right.
Why wouldn't you do it? If he could save one of them, I'm not saying that that's the main culprit. I don't know if it is, but I think it's at least part of it. So if you could make that change and that'll help you save 1 or 2 injuries a year on average, why wouldn't you do it?
I don't know.
Doesn't make sense. I think
we had this same argument in one of my group chats yesterday. Not yesterday, it was like last week. But yeah, it's like because I'm for the grass, and then one of my friends was like, "Oh, how do you know turf is causing more injuries?" I'm like, "Bro, the freaking information's out there. Like we've seen it by now." So I'm hoping it's grass. I hope you're right. Next year would be awesome, but I'm kind of over the whole turf thing. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and Big Moose says without Saquon, we would be 1-3 or 0-4. I agree with that. He says he stays. I don't know about that, but I definitely agree. We lose the Titans game. That's a fact. And we lose last week. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Without Saquon. So maybe you could argue the Carolina game. Maybe we could have won without him. Probably not. So we'd probably be 0-4 without Saquon Barkley. It definitely at least 1-3. And it's why if the NFL was a 4-game season, Mike, Saquon's, if he's not the MVP, he's damn close.
Oh, he's offensive player of the year. Maybe Cooper Kupp again. I don't know, but he's close. Yeah, he's in the conversation.
And I know it's traditionally a quarterback award, but so far he's close.
That statement's tough though, because like you got to tell me who his replacement would be, because like I could see a world where maybe they would have went 2-2, but they ain't getting 3 wins without him. I don't see that being the case. Like maybe like if Tony Pollard was our running back.
You think they're beating the Titans with Breida?
No. I think they would have beaten the Panthers and probably the Bears if they had like a top 20-ish starting running back. You know what I mean?
Okay. Oh,
yeah,
so
like
you're
something
saying,
like that.
You're saying if Barkley wasn't here, they'd have a better running back than Breida. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, not Matt Breida. I don't want that as a starting running back.
I'm going to say they'd be 1-3. I won't go as far to say 0-4. I'd say 1-3.
Okay.
If we didn't have Barkley. Dylan says last time we played in London, we made the playoffs. That was 2016.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I think the last 2 times we played in London, we made the playoffs.
What was the other year? Was that 05 or 6?
I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure. I think both times we played there, we made the playoffs.
That was the Landon Collins. I think he had 2 interceptions in London.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure. So let's bring him back. Let's get 2 more.
What do you think about that? You think Collins could come back here?
He has a much higher chance than Odell. I think the Odell stuff is ridiculous.
But
it's
not going to happen.
No, as much as I would love that, it's not going to happen. I think not this year. It could happen one day, not this year. Landon's interesting because we've now seen him play linebacker. We've seen him play safety. The Giants have such a need at linebacker, and like I think him and Tony Jefferson are similar right now, and maybe they look at Landon Collins as an upgrade over Tony Jefferson, and they obviously are seeking that type of role. Landon can blitz the quarterback. He wasn't the best in coverage, but I feel like he can't be any worse than Calitro or Tate Crowder. So like if they want to kick the tires on Collins, who's still 28 years old, I'm kind of for it. He played some good linebacker for Washington. I think it was 2 years ago. Like he was fine. Obviously, it was way overpaid, but still, I mean, the guy is still a decent football player. I'd give him a shot, and like it would bring me back to my high school days and seeing Landon Collins play for the Giants. It'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, I think he's coming. I think there's a good chance he's coming back. I mean, LPG on Twitter is really hinting that it's going to happen. So
he knows shit too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance he's coming back. I think it'll be next week. We'll see. Ryan says, any chance Gates plays soon? We need him at left guard. I have no idea.
I don't either.
I know that they said, I think he's coming off the pup. So we'll see. I don't think they're going to rush him out there. They shouldn't. Coming off the injury that he sustained. So we'll see.
I get so like scared when stuff like this happen. It was like when Alex Smith came in against us. I was like, "Why are you playing?
Yeah.
I don't want you out here."
It was kind of,
Like,
remember when Peyton Manning had the spinal thing when he first got
yeah.
playing?
Mhm.
Same thing with him. I was kind of like, I was
Yeah,
worried.
you get it's like you think about them more of like a human, like, you know what I mean? Like, I know it's like he's a football player, but I'm thinking like, "Oh my god, what if like something happens?" And it's like it'll be the same thing when Tua takes the field next time too after what happened to him. Like, it's like you look at them from a human aspect, it's like, "Oh my gosh, like please be careful," even though it's NFL, you can't really be careful, but it's definitely one of those things that kind of like is gut-wrenching in a way.
Yeah, it's I hope he gets an opportunity, but like you
Yeah.
said, I'm definitely going to be on pins and needles when he does go out there and play. So we'll see. I'm sure they're not going to put him out there though until they feel he's like really himself, and
Yeah.
we'll see. At some point this year, maybe he does get a chance, and maybe they want to see what they got, and whether or not they want to push forward with him going into 2023. James says, "Why not give Kenny Stills around?" Yeah, we talked about Isabella earlier. Listen, I'd give anybody a chance at this point. Literally anybody. It can't be worse than what we got. So any wide receiver we could bring in, Mike, I'm completely for it. So whoever it may be, I know people have talked about Fuller, as well. I just bring in 10 guys and pick 2 of them. Bring it, but have a tryout. So
What is
we need bodies.
What's Kenny Stills doing these days? Is he like a free agent?
I don't even know.
He's gotta be, right? I don't think he's anywhere. He was a good field stretcher. If we throw the ball deep, he'd be probably worth it, but
He hasn't played this year, so yeah,
yeah.
he's a free agent.
I feel like he
How
might have got I feel like he got arrested too or something. I don't know. I don't know what his situation is. I don't wanna speak
and
on anything I
he's older too. He's, well, not old, but he's like 30.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't know. We need a wide receiver. We need multiple wide receivers.
Yep.
So, bring somebody in.
I'm gonna look
I
up
think Isabella is more intriguing just because of his age. I think Isabella is more intriguing.
I'm gonna look up free agent wide receivers. We'll talk about this. This is a good topic. But go ahead, keep going.
Trade for DJ Moore, Dustin says. I've seen people bring him up too, and
Mhm.
that could be a target because Carolina's out of it. Similar situation though. They may be in the market to take a quarterback next year, and maybe they want to make sure he's got somebody to throw to. But for sure, DJ Moore certainly could be a possibility for sure. And that's the type of receiver I'd want, a young guy with with loads of potential. If you're going to make a trade, that's the type of wide receiver that I'd want to be bringing in.
Yeah, I agree with that. Wait, who the hell are we talking about? Because I who
We were talking about Kenny
ah,
Stills.
Kenny
Free agent wide
Stills.
receivers in general, you were going to look up.
That's right. Yeah. No, what was the last question you were just talking about?
DJ Moore.
Oh, yes, DJ Moore would be awesome. I would be all for it. I mean, he's had like 1,100 receiving yards the last 2 or 3 years with like Sam Darnold and like one arm Cam Newton. I mean, the guy is really good. I mean, he's young too. He's got to be like 24, 25. I'd be all for DJ Moore. It would probably be a higher asking price. Like you're probably talking probably third round pick at the lowest,
Nothing more.
maybe second round pick, honestly. But
What did the
he's
Eagles give up for AJ Brown?
a first round pick.
It's probably that. Like DJ
Yeah,
Moore's got to be near that level,
he's probably
right?
near it. Yeah.
Maybe a second, maybe 2 seconds. Like you're not giving up pennies to bring in a guy like that.
Yeah, he's so misutilized though with the Panthers. Baker Mayfield sucks. I mean, like, I would love DJ Moore though. He's like very close to a wide receiver one. He's definitely in that conversation. So I want to see him get a real chance, and he still has a lot of good football left in him. So I'd be for it if it's not a first round pick. Hopefully,
Yeah. 2 seconds, you do it. 2023 and
Two-
2024. Secure your young weapon because you're probably there's a good chance you may take a weapon in the first round this year anyway if you're not taking a quarterback.
All right, let's put the GM cap on. We gotta look up his contract. See if he has 2 years left, I would consider this. Oh,
Yeah,
he's on a new contract. He's on a 3-year, $61 million deal. He just signed it.
that's big. It's $20 million.
In that case, I'm probably gonna say no. He's a $25 million cap hit next year. That's I don't know. 2 seconds is probably too much at that point. No, I thought he was on his rookie deal still. My bad.
I'd still be interested in trading for him for the right
Yeah,
deal.
yeah.
But
Maybe a second and a third. I would probably do, but
you
2
know,
seconds is a lot.
especially with what wide receivers are set to make. I mean, they're making ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. That's true.
Jason, man, thank you very much, man. Isn't it funny how as much as us Giants fans wanted Dave Gettleman gone, most of his draft picks are playing major roles. Here's what I'll say, Jason, and I've always tried to be as fair as I could with Gettleman. I mean, it's impossible for them not to play major roles. It still makes up the majority of the team because he's only been here for 1 year, right? And a lot of his rookies aren't playing. A lot of them have been hurt. So if the Giants were going to be successful this year, a lot of Gettleman's guys were going to be a part of it. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Barkley, I never had a question. It was just a matter of him getting back on the field healthy. We knew he was going to be. Well, we didn't all know. But a lot of fans knew he was going to be great this year if he was healthy. Thomas, I knew he was going to be really good this year. Didn't know if he'd be this good.
Yeah.
And some of that definitely has to be attributed to the coaching. McKinney, we knew that already. He was really good last year. Dexter is another one. Dexter has definitely gotten better this year. He was always good, but not this good. So yeah, for sure. I think Dexter, Andrew Thomas, and those two players specifically have definitely hit another level this year. And it may just be that they were progressing as younger players, but you have to figure the coaching staff definitely has something to do with that. So I mean, his draft picks right now might look better. Let's put it that way. They definitely look better.
That has been the biggest takeaway of the Giants 22 season is that coaching matters, right? There's that, and then Saquon Barkley is still that guy. Like those are the two main takeaways this year. I mean, it's crazy how much they're getting out of this team because you look at the Giants roster. I know a lot of us are homers sometimes, but like you look at the Giants roster compared to the rest of the league, the Giants roster is maybe like mid-20s at best. They're not that great, and like they're still 3-1, which is crazy. I know some of these games were more winnable than some other opponents out there, but like still, I mean, it's awesome. And as I said, if this was Joe Judge, we're 0-4, 1-3. So I mean, it makes the biggest difference right there is coaching.
Coaching is probably the most important thing in football.
Yeah,
it probably is. It's probably even more important than the quarterback.
Yeah,
like Sean McVay brought Jared Goff to a Super Bowl.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and obviously if you have Pat Mahomes, but I mean, even Aaron Rodgers only has one Super Bowl to his name.
Yep.
And he's probably the most naturally talented quarterback in terms of a guy that's played his whole career for the most part in the history of the NFL. He's only got one Super Bowl ring.
All right.
Dan Marino's got 0 Super Bowl rings. You're talking about some of the most. So I think coaching is as important as anything. Mm-hmm. Only if he was judicious with free agency. Yeah. Well, that's what it comes down to. He only had one good free agency year, Jason, and even that year got worsened because of what he did last year. Like the Bradbury deal and the Martinez deal were really good. Like they looked really good. They were 3 years with the ability to get out after 2, but because he spent as aggressively as he did last year, it then made it so he had to backload all those contracts, and it made their cuts that much worse. And so his free agency in 2020 was the only good free agency year he had, but that even got ruined because of 2021. So the way that he handled free agency overall as a general manager was definitely the main reason for his downfall.
He was just reckless when it came to spending sometimes. He just, I don't know why, but he was.
Yeah, it was a disaster. Danny, man, thank you very much, man. Rumor has it the Giants are targeting. All right, Brandon, you're begging for money, dude. Come on, man. See a guy in the chat. Oh, somebody cash at me. Give me a break. Danny says, rumor has it the Giants are targeting Kentucky quarterback Will Levis. By who, Danny? Who's starting that rumor? Is that? I mean, your name is literally Danny Duds, so it might be that rumor. Who's starting that rumor? And I'm not saying that they may be. I have no idea.
I feel like that's a Twitter rumor.
Yeah, and what if Will Levis goes first overall?
Did Joe Shane go to watch him in a game? Is that why? Maybe.
I'm sure he did. He's been to everybody's games.
That's true. Yeah.
And I'm sure he's got his eye on a lot of the top quarterbacks, as he should be. He's got to be doing his research.
Yeah.
Juke says Tyrod going out in the first drive had me looking for Willie Beeman. I've been living under a rock, but then did they start only have two quarterbacks on the roster? Well, Jukes, that's not uncommon to only have 2 quarterbacks on the roster. That's actually pretty common. Probably about half the teams in the league only have 2 quarterbacks on game day. Because I mean, Mike, what's the probability that both quarterbacks are going to put in the same game? Like
I was gonna say, it's not very high, so
it's not very high. But yeah, he was definitely giving me some Willie Beeman vibes. And any given Sunday reference there with he had that one really cool run where he spun out of it, and he was able to pick up I think 10 or 12 yards. But yeah, he's not the answer at quarterback, but he's a solid backup. And if Jones can't play this week, hopefully he can, because I do think he could, and I don't think he's gonna, if I'm being honest, Mike, because you got to think the Giants are going to be really protective, especially after what happened with Tua.
Yeah.
Not just the Giants, every team around the league. So they're going to be really cautious with anybody that's had concussions, especially at the quarterback position. So I'd be really surprised if I would actually probably be more surprised if Tyrod plays is okay to play this week than Daniel Jones.
Oh, really? I feel the opposite. I think
But
Tyrod's
only
more
because of the
likely.
Tua thing. I think they're going to be
Yeah.
really, really strict on whether or not they're going to let people play that had concussions this week.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what's gonna happen. It's something we gotta unfortunately really keep a close eye on for. So I don't know. It'd be nice if both guys were healthy, right? We'll
It'd be
take
great.
both, but
It'd be great. Coded Trout says, NFL, what if Drew Brees never gets injured? Do the
Bledsoe.
Patriots become a dynasty? And does Brady become what he is today? No,
No,
does
definitely
not.
not.
The craziest what if Drew Bledsoe is part of two what ifs. Tony Romo never exists if Bledsoe doesn't get hurt, and Tom Brady may not never exist if Drew Bledsoe never gets hurt, right?
Yep.
So he's part of two what ifs.
Yeah.
But yeah, did the Patriots become a dynasty? No, probably not.
Don't Jets fans have that defender's name that knocked out
Yeah, Mo
Bledsoe?
Lewis. I think
Right?
it was Mo Lewis.
That name is just in their minds forever now because of that one hit. He made a positive play for the Jets, but it resulted in like 2 decades of misery because of Tom Brady.
And Brady, I don't think he ever becomes what he is today because I think him getting that chance probably made him have that much more of a drive to keep that job when he was given that opportunity and to become as great as he was. So no, I don't think Brady becomes he may not even ever get the opportunity. He was a 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
Had he never been thrown into action like that. So yeah, I'm going to say no.
He might have been cut in 2 years without taking an NFL snap. Like, you never know.
You don't know. You know?
It's same thing goes for like Wes Welker and Julian Edelman. Like, do those guys become those guys if they're not in the Patriots? I would say probably not. I mean,
that's what the Patriots do, and
Yeah.
Brady's part of that. They find guys that were not thought to be the most gifted and the best, and they get the most out of them. You think about not just Brady. You think about Woodhead. The Jets cut Woodhead. He goes to the Patriots and he's a Pro Bowler. And several other wide receivers. Deion Branch, like he wasn't anything special outside of the Patriots. Like they just always get the most out of the players. That's what makes them a great football team, and that comes down to coaching.
Well, I'm still thankful for Wes Welker for obvious reasons. So thanks.
Yes, thank you. By the way, you heard Brady broke up with Giselle today, right?
I did. Yeah, I heard the rumor, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, wasn't expecting that.
Didn't Giselle, I think that's how you say her first name. If I recall, didn't she call out Wes Welker after that Super Bowl?
She did.
She did, right?
She said in her accent, she's like, "My husband cannot throw the ball and catch the ball at the same time," and it was so funny because someone got it on video. And then, ironically, Tom Brady dropped that pass in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. I think it was like 10 years later. So it didn't really work out too well. Cold takes exposed there for Giselle, whatever her name is.
Chaotic says, what channel will the Giants game be? I'm not sure in terms of New York, but broad markets is going to be on NFL Network.
Yeah.
I would assume in New York, maybe it will be. I don't know. Maybe it'll be on like NBC. I don't know. But if you're outside of the New York area, it's going to be on NFL Network.
I hate getting up early, so I'm not going to like it, but you got to do it.
I saw you stream the
Cowboy.
How did that go?
It was good. Yeah, I mean, it was good till we lost, but it was pretty fun. Yeah, I got very hyped for the Saquon run. So I mean, yeah, I wish the game was a bit more exciting, but it was a fun time.
Well, I'm gonna get you on one of these games. We're gonna have you on. We're gonna do one.
I was thinking about doing it this Sunday if you want to do it together, but because I usually have friends.
Channel, I'll ask him, but I don't want to impose on him. But
no, I get it. Yeah.
Definitely going to get you on. I know that you normally go out on Sundays with your friends, but
yeah, I always have friends over here, so it's like I can't do it then. But
we'll talk. One of these games, we'll get you on. Hopefully, do you go to Giants games?
Oh man, it's been a long time. I go to preseason games because like at that point it's preseason, whatever. But no, I haven't been to the last regular season Giants game I've been to was the Odell Norman fight, 2015. It's been a long time.
I'm going to the game November 13th, man. If you want to go, get tickets.
Who's that against?
It's against Houston. I was going to go this week. I was going with my brother, and then the weather report came out, and they made it sound like there was going to be a tornado, torrential downpour, and that's why all the tickets started going for like $25 on StubHub. Yeah. And I was still going to go because I said on here I'm going to go, and my brother's like, "No, I'm not going. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go." And I was still going to go by myself, and he's like, "No, just wait. We'll go November 13th for your birthday." So. That's why I didn't go this week. But I'm
I
going to
definitely, I want to go at some point and hang out at one of those tailgates with people from Giants Twitter. It's long overdue, so I'll get my ass there at some point.
Yeah, man. Hopefully you can make it to that one if you can.
Yeah.
Jukes, man, thank you. He says Brady lost on Monday and cut Giselle off the roster. He chose football over Giselle, man. He did ultimately because he was retired. He came back. Hey, it is what it is.
Is that really what it was though? Like because he came back to the NFL?
I don't know. That's speculation. Probably not. It's probably more to it than that.
I feel like there's got to be more to it, but yeah.
Maybe she broke up with him because he kisses his kids on the mouth.
Maybe.
I'd probably break up with my wife. Well, no, it's not as weird if it's a woman. It's still weird, but not as weird. And I'm probably offending somebody in the chat because probably somebody in the chat does that.
Damn.
Ian says she broke up with Tom for Zach Wilson. Yeah, Zach Wilson's on the prowl. We all know he likes the older women. Didn't he get caught with that with his mom's girlfriend or something like that?
Oh, Zach Wilson, yeah.
Yeah, he got caught with like a
yeah. Hey, good for him though. That's some cool
by
stuff.
the way, ironically enough, Mark Sanchez, who of course was the quarterback for the Jets, got caught for sleeping with a minor, and he got caught for sleeping with a 50-year-old. So they it's polar opposites. They can't.
Mark Sanchez got caught sleeping with a minor.
Oh yeah, you don't remember?
He's not in jail or anything. How did this happen?
Oh yeah. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up right now. Hold on.
Jeez, I did not hear about this.
Yeah, it was obviously consensual, but she posted a picture on social media, and she was 17 years old.
Oh God.
Yeah. I got it right here. Hold on. Let's see. There you go. Sanchez, relationship with 17-year-old girl shows bad judgment, no wrongdoing. I guess technically it was legal, 17. But she was
yeah. Probably depends where it is, but I'd never heard about this. Wow.
Yeah. So he was sleeping with a 17-year-old, and Zach Wilson was sleeping with a 50-year-old.
Jeez.
So they can't meet in the middle.
Everyone's got a type, yeah, I guess.
The Jets are a mess. And Allison, thank you very much. Has DW been signed yet for Sunday? Do you think the Giants could win? If so, why am I not putting these?
Probably Davis Webb.
Davis Webb, that's it. Has Davis Webb been signed yet for Sunday? Do you think the Giants can win? If so, what do you think the plan will be? Possible that Jones plays. I think it's possible that Jones plays, but not likely. I think he's not gonna give out any information before the game starts. And I remember when he was hurt last time, we rushed him back, but the first game we didn't play him, and they didn't lead on until about a day before the game that he wasn't gonna play. Dable probably knows by now, or he has probably a good idea that Jones is going to play, or if he's not. But even if he knows he's not going to say it yet because he doesn't want them to be prepared to be able to go up against the quarterback that they're going to be going up against. So he wants to keep it a secret as long as he can. So we'll see. But I'm leaning that Jones is not going to play, and I think that Webb will get the start. Yeah, and he'll be called up, Allison. They're also going to sign a backup because I don't think Taylor's playing either.
Oh man, that's gonna be rough. One of these guys.
I think they need. I said it on Twitter, Mike, and I know that Webb has to start, and he should start because he knows the playbook. He's familiar with it. They should bring in a very mobile quarterback.
I was gonna say they should dead ass just sign Cam Newton and just run options with
whoever
Saquon.
It is. I don't think it'll be Cam Newton, but no. I don't even know who's out there. But if they just for sub packages, like if Webb's gonna be, Webb needs to be the quarterback, but. Sub packages, bring him in there just for his legs. That's a weapon with this offense with Barkley. So if they're going to be in a rut and they got to go with a backup, I would personally like to see something like that.
I think Jones. Listen, I don't know what type of pain he's in. I could see a scenario where Jones plays, but he's not using his legs. Like we saw this versus the Cardinals. I think in 2020, he was just strictly a pocket passer playing on the bum ankle. It wasn't the best situation, but it might be better than Davis Webb. I don't know. So. We'll see if they want to make him
they're starting Webb though, just because Webb's familiar with the offense.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the only right. For people that are saying Newton, I've seen that on Twitter, and there's been a couple of other names. The only way I see that being even a remote possibility is if they felt Jones was going to miss 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Then I could see something like that. But if it's only going to be a week, they're going to go with somebody in house.
Yeah.
Somebody that knows the playbook. That's what they're going to do. You're not going to bring in Newton here that has no chemistry with any of these wide receivers, doesn't know the offense. they're gonna go with Webb. That's what they're gonna do.
I responded to you, and I was only partially joking on Twitter, but the idea of Kadarius Toney a quarterback if he can play, I don't hate that idea. I mean,
I don't hate that idea. Here's the thing. I don't hate that idea either. Like I said when I retweeted you, but not for a whole game, because Kadarius Toney would get hurt.
That's true. Yeah.
Like could you picture Kadarius Toney basically doing what Deebo Samuel does the entire game?
Hell no.
He would get killed. He's so fragile. So could I see him doing it a little bit? Yeah, but I don't think I could see him doing it like literally playing the quarterback position the entire game and using him as basically a running back. I think he'd get killed.
He might come after you, Chris. Don't say anything. Keep his name out your mouth.
I just got to be honest, and I got to be honest. Mr. Mini Guy, he says, going to battle with the boys on Sunday. We'll beat women every day.
Oh, geez.
I think I hope this is a Cowboys reference. Brady made the right choice. He'll retire when he becomes a senior citizen. Oh, he's saying playing football beats being married.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I read that at first, and I'm like, Mr. Mini Guy's a good guy. I know he's not talking about beating women. That's what he's saying. And we both misinterpreted that, which is funny at first.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man. Obviously, that's what Brady decided. And good for him. Jake, man, thank you very much, man, for the $5 donation, man. I really appreciate it, man. And AZ8 says sign.
I like this.
Powers.
You know who that is, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chad Powers, nobody else.
Yeah, of
He's
course.
a real guy.
Yeah. That'd be cool, though. That'd be really cool, but nah.
Think fast, run fast. Think fast, run fast.
Yep.
What do you run? 5'4", 940 or something like that?
It wasn't good, yeah.
I was dying of laughter watching that video. That was great. That was great. How do you not love Eli?
I don't know.
How do you not love him?
I guess unless you're a Patriots fan, but like outside of that, I mean, you gotta love him. He's great.
He's the man.
Yeah.
He's the man. Jake, man, thank you very much, man. Here's the plan. Wink rattles Rodgers' cage as much as possible, and Gano kicks 8 field goals.
8 field goals. Sheesh.
That's 24 points. Sign me up. That would be our hype for the year, wouldn't it?
Probably. I think so.
I think it would be, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, sign me up for that, Jake. I'll take 8 field goals right now against the Packers.
You mentioned it, though. Rodgers is so smart at the line. Like, he knows what's coming, so it's scary. I don't know. If they can fool him somehow, great. It's just not something I'm counting on because that man has probably seen it all by now.
I agree. But I do think Wink is really smart.
He is.
So I do think he's going to come with a good game plan. Like, I didn't know what I was going to get from Wink when the year started. I was like really worried that he was just going to be like
reckless. Yeah,
exactly. He's smart. He doesn't blitz as much. Like, he blitzes a lot, but he does it selectively. And I think he will come with a good game plan. But like you said, Rodgers is not going to. He's not going to get bewildered like Baker Mayfield did.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I do think Wink will come with a good game plan. I think he'll create some disruption, especially being that they don't have the best wide. They're kind of like us. Yeah, obviously Rodgers is incredible, so he elevates everybody. But they don't have many threats in the passing game either.
No, they don't. I mean, they have a nice rookie, Romeo Dubs. He's good, but yeah, this
Chris
is not
done much, right?
He ran in a touchdown. He looks good. Like, he's a good athlete, but not receiving wise yet. He's not there.
I'm sure he'll end up being really good, but now. And Allison, thank you very much. Do you think the Giants win? If so, what's the score? I think both Mike and me agree on this. And, I'm definitely going to make a prediction video this week because I'm going to have time to make more content for you guys this week. So you'll get my official prediction then. And my overall prediction could certainly change throughout the week because right now I'm going to assume Daniel Jones isn't playing. I'm going to assume Leonard Williams isn't playing. So with all that being said, I'm not picking the Giants. I'm going to pick the Packers. And I'm still going to pick the Packers, even if those two are playing. But I might have a different outlook in terms of how competitive I think this game could potentially be if both of them play. But I'm picking the Packers. I do think we match up well with them, though, in the sense that I think we could keep it relatively close. I don't look at this as a game, and I think we both agree with this. We said it throughout the stream, going in where I'm like, I think we're going to lose by 30 points. I don't see that. I think it's going to be a pretty competitive game, but I'm going to pick the Packers.
Yeah. He meant to say strategy. That was what he was trying to say, not score. So we could talk about like strategy for beating the Packers.
Oh, you're talking about Allison.
Yeah.
If so, what's the strategy? Well, the strategy for beating the Packers, Mike, I'll start and I'll let you continue because you may have more to add, but it's as simple as that Seahawks game in 2020. That's the strategy. It's boring, but that's The same way we beat Russell Wilson when we had Colt McCoy is the same way if we're going to win this game that we're going to beat Aaron Rodgers with our backup quarterback.
Even last week, like offensively, the Giants probably want to do something similar they did last week, where they run the ball. What was it, 44 times, and they passed it like 17 times, whatever it was. You know what I mean? I don't know. I forget what the ratio was, but they're going to run the ball a lot more than pass it if they can. If they get down 21-0 in the first quarter, that changes your plans. But they're going to try and run the ball probably twice as much as they pass it. I mean, defensively is the question, Chris. Like, do you really go blitz heavy on Rodgers, or do you sit in zone and try to keep everything in front of you? Because that's, that's
I don't think you could. Here's what I'll say. We're not doing what we did last week. When we blitzed on 3rd and 20, that's not happening. When we blitz, because he will pick that apart. And we got beat on that play. So I think we're going to be selectively aggressive, but we're not going to just sit back on our heels either. Wink's going to blitz. He's going to bring pressure, but I don't think he's going to be like uncontrollably like blitzing just to blitz. Like I think he'll be smart about it, but I definitely think we're still going to be aggressive with Rodgers. We have to be.
Yeah, I got to think about that. I don't know what their defensive plan is going to be. I'm trying to put myself in his shoes. I really don't know. I think they'll try and keep most things in front of them and have Rodgers dink and dunk up the field and try to hold them to field goals, but that's tough against them because they can run the ball too. So I guess, we'll find out. Leonard Williams would be nice to have for this game, but unfortunately that might not be the case.
I would feel much better about this game in terms of us keeping it close if Leonard Williams was playing.
Yeah.
Because then I could at least convince myself as a fan that him and Dex can win the game for us. Like they did when we played Seattle. Like they could just absolutely collapse the pocket the entire game and just blow that game up. But without Leo, it's going to be even harder. So we'll see. But I don't think we're going to get blown out. I really don't. Would I be shocked if we do? No. It's Aaron Rodgers. We have our backup quarterback. But I trust this coaching staff enough to come out with a game plan to we might lose by 10. We might lose by 7. Yeah. But I trust this coaching staff well enough to keep this game at least semi-competitive and maybe give us a chance of going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's pretty much all you can ask for, right? I mean, we're not going to go out there and blow them out. I don't see that happening. So you just got to keep it close. And as you said, something hopefully goes your way. Hopefully Amari Rodgers fumbles a punt or something and we recover it, something like that, something fluky, but that's what you need when there's a big talent discrepancy like these type of games. The Packers defense is really good. They've rushed the passer very well, which is a concern. I mean, it's going to be an uphill battle for the Giants, but as you said, they can run on them hopefully and just try and control the clock and keep it close like the Patriots did.
That's our best shot, Allison. That's definitely our best shot in this football game is, and I know a lot of fans don't want to hear that. Saquon Barkley's going to have to ball out. Saquon Barkley's going to have another 30-carry, 140-yard game. And the defense is gonna have to hold them to threes, which is what they did. We're the second best red zone defense in football right now.
Look at us, yeah.
And we're also the second best third down defense, but the Packers are the first. Teams are only converting 24% of the time on third down against the Packers.
Jeez, I wonder what their secret is. What are they doing over there?
Yeah, so they got a good defense. They got a good ground attack. But I'm looking forward to the challenge, and I'm not going into this game thinking we're going to win. I'm just going into the game hoping that we see progression on both sides of the ball, and if we win, I'll be bananas. Yeah. But I'm not going to go into the game expecting that. Let's put it that way.
It's a good test. It is. I wish we were healthy for it because we'd probably get a better gauge of like where we're actually at. Because if you're without Jones and Tyrod and Leo and Aaron Robinson, if you want to include him, and no Tony, no Wandale, it's tough to really evaluate where the Giants are at right now. But like, even if they can go in there without those guys and hold it to a 1-score game, I mean, that's like, you don't want moral victories, of course, but that is one where it's like, okay, I was impressed. Our coaching staff kept that close despite being severely outmatched, injury-wise, talent-wise, playing the back-to-back MVP and Rodgers. That would be, a moral victory if you want to take one that way.
Yeah, and I think that, listen, I don't think it's an impossible game to win, Minchie, man. Let me put it this way, Mike. Is this crazy for me to say this? And it probably is. But I'm really confident in the way that Barkley's playing. I'm really confident in the way the offensive line is playing. I don't know if I would be much more surprised, slightly more surprised, but I don't know if I'd be much more surprised if we beat the Packers than I would have been when we beat the Titans week 1 on the road, Dable's first game. Is that crazy for me to say?
So you'd be
because obviously in hindsight, Yeah, like, how could you say that, Chris? We beat the Titans. But going into that game, I didn't like that matchup.
Right.
I didn't think we were going to win that game. So I would say I'd be a slightly more surprised if we beat this Packers team than when we beat that Titans team.
Yes, that part I agree with you. I think the Giants had a chance week 1. Of course, they were underdogs by a good amount. I think this matchup is better for them. So I agree. I think, you know, I would be more surprised if they won week 1 compared to this week, I think is what we're trying to say, right?
Or about equal. I'll say about equal.
Yeah, it's not that far off, no.
I'll say about equal.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's going to come down to who plays and who doesn't. So I give us a chance. But it's going to come down to the running game and the defense if we're going to have any chance.
Especially now that we know they're 3-1 and actually like have competent coaching, well, much better than competent, like really good coaching. We know they can probably keep these games close. And week 1, we did not know that. We were hoping for that week 1, but now we know a month into the season, okay, this coaching staff is legit. They're getting recognition around the league. And, the Giants probably shouldn't be blown out this game. Maybe they will. But I think with the coaching staff and how prepared they are, they can keep it close.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Again, wouldn't be shocked either way. You got to respect Rodgers, and you got to respect the fact that we're missing a lot of pieces. So if we lose by 20, I'm obviously going to be upset on game day, but I won't be surprised.
Yeah.
But I also won't be surprised if we keep this really close and give ourselves a real opportunity to win. Delancey says Giants can win, man. It's football. I agree. Any given Sunday. Listen, look around the league every week. The Jets beat the Steelers on the road. They just had another huge upset that nobody saw coming. I forgot who it was. The Browns, I think.
The Browns, yeah.
When the Browns look really good after week 1. You always see crazy upsets. The Colts got devoured. Now it doesn't look as big of an upset now, but on that week 2 it did when they got shut out by the Jaguars 24-0. So crazy things happen every week that people don't expect, and expectations in terms of teams go up rapidly and go down rapidly week to week in the NFL. Each week means so much. And we're going to close this out in a couple of minutes, Mike. But speaking about that, today I saw on the power rankings on ESPN, somebody posted to me on Twitter, the Giants are 14th.
Wow. Oh, that was ESPN, right?
Yeah.
Jeez.
How crazy is that?
I would have to.
I didn't even get a chance to look at it. I'm going to pull it up right now.
Yeah.
I'm just curious to see, because somebody just showed me that we were 14th. I'm curious to see where they have everybody else. And I don't got power rankings mean very little to me, but
right.
It's cool to see that we're that.
I used to care so much. Oh my God. I remember like when we beat the Patriots in New England in 2011, that game where Jake Ballard had the touchdown. I remember going to ESPN the next day and being like, oh my God, we're 6th in the power rankings. So cool. And like now it's like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, I don't care, but it's just you're not used to it.
Yeah.
To see that usually the Giants are at like 30. So I was like, wow. But yeah, right now this is the power rankings around the league right now. I'm assuming the Eagles are going to be 1. I hate them. Kansas City is 1.
Wow.
They got Kansas City 1 at 3-1, and they have looked really impressive.
I agree with that. When the Chiefs line is playing like they did on Sunday, they're unbeatable. I mean, that's true.
And the Bills are 2, so they're still giving them a ton of respect. They had a really good win against the Ravens this past week.
Yeah.
Where they came back.
They were down 23, I think, right?
Yeah, they had a really good win. And I still think the Bills are the best team in football. I had them winning the Super Bowl before the year started. I maybe changed my opinion, though. The Chiefs have not missed a beat.
No.
Eagles 3, Packers 4.
Hmm.
We're going up against 4 guys. That's a big test.
Yeah.
We got the Dolphins at 5. We got the Rams. Rams are still high.
Wow. That's high.
Vikings are 7. Bucks are 8. Ravens 9.
How are the Bucks behind the Vikings and the who was it?
It's just because of their record.
And the
Vikings
Rams
haven't impressed me this year.
Even
though they're 3-1, they haven't impressed me this year.
Yeah.
Ravens are 9. Bengals 10. Cowboys 11. Niners 12. I think the Niners are going to go up.
Yeah, they should. Yeah.
Chargers 13.
Okay. And here we are. Wow.
How crazy is that?
Giants have a top 10 pass defense at the moment, but they're going to have to rush the passer more effectively. It's a lot of focus on pass rush. Okay.
It's from Jordan Renan because he works for us.
Okay.
And then after the Giants, you got the Jaguars, you got the Titans. That's fair. We beat them.
Yeah, we did beat them. That's true.
You got the Broncos, you got the Browns, the Cardinals, the Seahawks. So they got us high.
Yeah, maybe it's not that crazy when you look at it, But I was surprised. Yeah, that's high for us. We haven't seen that in 6 years.
Yeah. So hopefully we find a way to. Do you realize if we win this week, we're going to be top 10 in the power rankings?
Oh yeah. I think I don't know if this is a hot take. I think they make the playoffs if they win this week.
I
I
agree
don't
with you. I
right. I
agree
don't
with
see
you.
why not.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm still remaining calm, cool, and collected and see the vision long term, Chris. If we beat the Packers this week, that's going out the window. I don't care about all the injuries. And if we're 4-1, that's going out the window. Playoffs are my expectations. If we beat
Forget about it. Yeah, I agree. I would expect to go to the playoffs if they win this week. I agree.
Yeah. And T, thank you very much. When Brady missed camp, I heard Giselle scream, "Your children don't know you. What effing more do you want?" And being a gal, I knew it was over. Yeah, there were rumors that there was definitely some friction when he decided to come back and play football. Whether or not there's any traction behind that, I don't know. But it seems coincidental that they now got divorced after he came back and played football. But we'll never know.
Maybe it is that. I mean, do you think like his wife wanted him to retire? He gave in and said, "Okay, I'll do it," and then he was retired for a month and a half and said, "I really want to play football again," and then just went back to it. Like, because
Maybe.
I know there's more to the story. How Brady was supposed to go to the Dolphins, and then they had to forfeit their draft pick, and they got in trouble. And he didn't want to play for Bruce Arians, but then Bruce Arians got removed from the head coaching role. Like, there's stuff that goes into it like that. But I don't know. There's a lot of layers to this story, and maybe one day it'll come out. But it's pretty interesting.
You say it's not the updated power rankings, but I mean it says 6:45 a.m. today, and all the records are updated. They've all played 4 games, so I think that's ESPN's current power rankings.
Gotta be right. Yeah.
I think that's where they got the Giants. So I don't know. All I'm going to say is this: we're going to be top 10 in the power rankings if we win this week, which is insane to say.
Yeah.
5 games in, and hopefully we find a way to do it. I'm looking forward to it. It's been a real fun start. Last year I had no fun on YouTube. I'm going to be completely honest with you. No fun.
Yeah.
No fun. And I think it was most giant content creators. Like, we finally went into the year, not that we expected Super Bowl, but we finally went into the year with expectations.
Right.
Like, there were expectations after they were as aggressive as they were in free agency, because there had to be. If you didn't go into last year at least as a content creator, if you didn't go into last year with raised expectations, then you're lying. You had to have, with as aggressive as they were, and it was just miserable to cover the team and talk about the team. And it's been so much more enjoyable for me to come on here and talk about this football team, regardless of how it plays out the rest of the year. To see a vision, with our GM and head coach. So I love talking about this team again.
I wish we were more present, because I feel like a lot of the talking points are, oh, is Jones back next year? Oh, is Saquon getting extended? Like, I just want to enjoy the ride. It's freaking October 4th. Let's just take it game by game. There's plenty of time to talk about that stuff. So I'm enjoying it though. It's fun. I forgot what it feels like, and it's been since 2011. I mean, we just think about what you were doing in life at that point. It's so different. I was probably in middle school. It's freaking crazy. So I love it. It's awesome. And I don't know if this will continue because we have tougher opponents coming up. But as you said, we just got to remain competitive until the final month of the season. Let's just keep it interesting. And, you never know.
By the way, Mike, I messed up. It's defensive power rankings.
Oh,
my mistake.
That's why I was talking about the pass rush so much. I'm like, damn, where's the offense?
My mistake, guys. So they're 19 apparently on ESPN. Okay, so that makes more sense.
Top 20, not 10.
I thought 14 seemed a bit high, so that makes more sense. I didn't know that. Somebody showed it to me on Twitter today, and it said 14, and I just typed that in, and that's what came up. So it's defenses. My mistake.
Well, now I see why the Buccaneers were 8, because they just had 45 points put up on them.
And I think probably the Eagles are 1, if I had to guess on the actual power ranking. So that makes more sense.
Yep.
I think we'd still be at least top 12 if we beat the Packers this week. But
I agree.
We'll see what happens. Juke says Brady has a date with Destiny and Giselle. I'm jealous. But guys, like Big Moo just said, game by game, guys, one game at a time. That's what this year's about for me. One game at a time, 1 week at a time. We know we're going to go through ebbs and flows. We know it's going to be a roller coaster. We could easily lose our next 2 games. And if that happens, we roll with it. We see this team hopefully continue to grow and build, and hopefully get to take advantage of, the upcoming games after that. But we'll see how we stack up this week, Mike, against a much stronger opponent than I think we faced all year in the Green Bay Packers. I still have tremendous respect for that football team. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun getting up at 9:30 a.m., screaming at the television and drinking tea. I'm going to definitely be in that UK mode, drinking the tea, even though I need coffee.
You're a coffee guy or a tea guy?
I'm coffee, but
Really?
tea is like a Britain,
Yeah.
that's like a UK thing. So
Right.
I'll probably drink tea during the game.
I drink that green leaf every morning for work. I used to do coffee. It's just like I
Oh,
couldn't.
you're more into the tea, huh?
I am. It tastes like shit because it's unsweetened, but you know what? It wakes me up a bit, so it works out.
I used to put. I went on a diet, obviously, and I lost a lot of weight, but I used to put like sugar and milk in my coffee. So I'm like, that's like the first thing I got to cut because I would
Right.
drink like 3 or 4 cups a day. That alone is like 300 calories added
Yeah.
to my diet that I took out. So now I drink it black. I like it. I like it black.
Look at you, old fashioned. Yeah.
Yeah. Once you go black, you don't go back. That's what they say. But Mike, man, thank you so much, man, for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. Always have a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to going on your channel next week when we talk about a 4-1 Giants team knocking off Aaron Rodgers. It's gonna be so much fun. Make sure you show up for that one. And yeah, Mike, man, just plug your channel a bit and just say goodbye to everybody.
Yes. So at some point this week, I will be doing a reaction to the highlights from this past week's game. I'm probably going to do it tonight, actually. So that'll be up. Game previews on Friday. So we'll be talking about the Giants-Packers game more in depth. But yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. I saw all the comments. You guys are too kind. It was fun to talk to you all. And we'll see you guys on my channel next week, hopefully. And if we can beat Aaron Rodgers, you'll see us two in a very good mood in a week from now.
Can't wait. I can't wait to be 4-1, Mike. I'm talking myself into it.
We always
guys,
do.
have a great rest of your night. See you later. Have a good night, guys. And
see you guys.
Yeah, I don't know.